There was no question in 2004, freshman phenom Adrian Peterson proved to be a shining star for the Sooners of Oklahoma. Week after week, this rugged rookie was relentless in his punishment of opposing defenses. He broke tackles and shattered records on his way to becoming the first freshman to ever finish as a runner-up for the Heisman Trophy. We welcome you to Dr. Pepper's College Football Kickoff on ABC Sports today. Over 82,000 fans have jammed their way into a sold-out Memorial Stadium here in Norman, Oklahoma. As the defending Big 12 Conference champion and 7th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners play host to the newest member of the Mountain West Conference, the Horned Frogs of TCU. Hello, everyone. Along with the coach, Terry Bowden, I am Jerry Punch, and we are glad to have you with us here today in Norman, Oklahoma. And, Coach, everyone knows Adrian Peterson is back, but the real catalyst for this high-powered Sooner offense the past 2 years, their Heisman-winning quarterback Jason White is gone, and today Bob Stoops hands the keys of the offense to a redshirt junior who's making his very first start.
Yeah, that's Paul Thompson. It's not so much what Paul Thompson does on the field, but what he doesn't do. It's that he doesn't turn the ball over. That's important in a Bob Stoops offense. He's a great decision maker. He doesn't have foolish mistakes. And another thing, Jerry, he can run the football.
And across the field, the trigger man for TCU, fifth-year senior quarterback Ty Gunn.
Yeah, Ty Gunn with him, the key is that he just stays healthy. He's been a starter the last 3 years, but each year he's gotten hurt and only played in 4 games. But he's 10-2 in those 12 games, and this guy has got to be on the field if TCU has a chance to win.
All right, the Sooners of Oklahoma on the field to begin their 111th season of college football. When we return, we'll tee it up and kick it off. It's OU and TCU in Norman in just a moment. A gorgeous day here in Norman, Oklahoma, as we are set to kick off college football's season. And there is the headband for the Sooners of Oklahoma. His 7th year at the helm here, the winningest active coach in Division I college football in terms of percentage. And across the field, Gary Patterson, 45 years of age, his 5th year as a head coach. Year at the school, the 2002 Conference USA Coach of the Year and runner-up for the Bobby Dodd National Coach of the Year back in '03. Oklahoma has won the toss. They will defer and kick off. TCU will receive, and the Sooners led the Big 12 Conference a year ago in kickoff coverage, allowing only 15.7 yards per return. In the Dr. Pepper Big 12 title game, by the way, Colorado received 6 kickoffs and only crossed the 20-yard line one time. Garrett Hartley will tee it up for the Sooners of Oklahoma. And back to receive. There's a look at Hartley. There's the sophomore from Southlake, Texas. Back to receive Drew Coleman, the senior sprinter, a 10-3 100-meter sprinter, as we are set to get underway here in Norman, Oklahoma. Drew Coleman will take it at his own 1-yard line and scamper up, and there's that coverage that we talked about a moment ago. He barely gets back to the 15-yard line.
So much talent they have on their team. That's why they have great coverage, because they have great talent even on their special teams. All
right, the 5th-year senior quarterback Ty Gunn is the field general for the Horned Frogs. Only started 12 games in his career due to injuries, but he has won 10 of them. He leads the team in completion percentage. He's a career leader for the school, averaging over 34 points a game when he's the trigger man for this offense. A preseason Davey O'Brien watched this candidate. Very, very accurate. Only 8 interceptions in his career of 324 passes. Takes a handoff inside, has the receiver wide open across the 20 and out of bounds. That is Quinley Harmon. Take a look at the TCU backs and receivers. The Frogs feature 2 1,000-yard rushers at tailback. Hobbs will start today. Robert Merrill will also play. Junior Corey Rogers set a single-season TCU record for receptions by a wide receiver a year ago. In the offensive line, Sims and Taylor are the only returning starters. Culp, by the way, is a Remington Award watch list candidate at center. I formation. Hobbs is the tailback. Opening possession for the Horned Frogs. Gunn back to pass again, looks for Rogers, and the flag comes down in the secondary. Jajoki Anyanagicha on the coverage from cornerback, and we'll see what our referee Drew George has to say. Both receiver and defensive back were pushing each other, and they're going to call it on Oklahoma. Take a look again, and we'll see if we see this pass interference on Onyenaghicha.
Pass interference, defense, number 22, 15 yards, automatic first down.
That was sort of the Achilles heel late in the year for Oklahoma, their secondary, which really got them hurt in the Orange Bowl against USC.
Yeah, Onyenaghicha was a little bit inconsistent last year. We talked to their coach. They said he's got to make sure he stays focused. They went after him early. Obviously, they saw the same thing from last year's film.
They have 3 new starters in the secondary. We'll set those in just a moment, as the penalty will give TCU a first down across the 35. Handoff, nothing doing whatsoever. Great defensive effort up front. And speaking of that Oklahoma defense, up front they are led by senior co-captain Dusty Dvorak, a first-team All-Big 12 selection in 2003. After sitting out the remainder of the season in 2004 due to suspension and dismissal. Keep an eye on C.J. Ayu, by the way, the transfer from BYU. At linebacker, both Ingram and Alexander are Butkus Award candidates. In the secondary, 3 new starters. DJ Wolf at corner, a converted tailback, and Lewis Baker, a converted linebacker at strong safety. 4 wide receivers, inside pitch off to Hobbs, and he will be up across the 44. We told you Dusty Dvorak is the leader up front defensively for Oklahoma. With more on him, let's meet the third member of our broadcast team, Trini Kuznirik, on the sideline.
Hi, guys. Thanks very much. Well, it is a very emotional day for Dusty Dvorak. It is his first game since last September when he was suspended from the team for getting into an altercation with a childhood friend. That friend ended up in the hospital, and he was dismissed from the team. Now, Dusty was reinstated in January after going through alcohol and anger management. He was named captain earlier this week. He said he wants to be a leader and a good example on this defense.
All right, thanks a lot, Trini. 5 wide receivers. Gunn can't find any room, and he will run up across the 49 and have the first down for TCU. First time we saw the empty backfield and 5 wide receivers.
Well, Ty Gunn, he can run the ball as well as pass it. He's great at the option with the option. What he wants to do is run the ball like you've seen them doing to get the secondary, this young secondary, active in the run game and then hit them on the pass.
We told you Ty Gunn has only started 12 games, 4 a year over the previous 3 years for that man right there, Gary Patterson. But when Gunn has been the leader, the field general for this TCU Horned Frog offense, they have been 10-2. Handoff this time to Hobbs, who cuts it back and will dance down into Oklahoma territory at about the 45.
And the skill to play in pass situations also.
Rufus Alexander out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, said he was very pleased to hear that his family is safe, and our thoughts and prayers go out to all of those who are suffering from Hurricane Katrina ravaging the Gulf Coast. There's a look at Brent Venables, who runs the Oklahoma defense. Wide open inside the 40, and that pass completed to the tight end Chad Andrus, coming back from a knee injury in the 3rd game a year ago.
We've seen a different formation and personnel grouping almost every time for TCU. They talked about very much about never giving the Sooners a chance to see the same offensive formation twice. This young secondary is not going to get comfortable seeing the same team. There's the throw to the tight end out of a different formation, as you see that one there by Ty Gunn.
Oklahoma led the Big 12 in total defense a year ago. That man right there, Brent Venables, co-defensive coordinator for Oklahoma. There's Latimer, the middle linebacker, the only new starter in the middle, taking over for Lance Mitchell, who graduated. Again, just in and out of the hands of the receiver. That's Quinley Harmon, who is known for his acrobatic catches and couldn't make the simple one right there.
Yeah, and I want to re-emphasize, too, that was the open set. Nobody in the backfield. Again, a different set every time to try to confuse the Oklahoma defense.
And, Coach, no surprise whatsoever that TCU going after that secondary after what happened in the Orange Bowl last year when Oklahoma gave up 332 yards passing and 5 touchdowns to the Heisman Trophy winner. And certainly a lot of these secondary players here for OU are just getting their feet wet here. 3 of the 4 are new. Inside handoff to Hobbs, and he will gain about 3.5. Well, we asked Oklahoma head coach Bob Stoops, what about the new defensive alignment, what you're going to do here in the secondary this year?
We've gone back this year to playing a boundary corner and a wide corner. To some people, that's not a big deal. It may not be. To us, we just feel there are differences in how each of them are attacked in the plays that they see from either side, wide field or boundary. So we're a little more comfortable this year doing it that way. You know, what the results it produces, we'll see.
Ninth play of the drive of the opening possession by TCU had some movement up front, and flags will come in. Probably going to cost the Horned Frogs 5 yards. Big Herbert Taylor, right tackle.
Prior to the snap, false start, 78 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
And remember, last year they began identifying the players in college football like they've done in the NFL for many years.
That's right, and they tried to emulate the sound at practice. They had the loudspeakers going, but you can't emulate 85,000 people, the Oklahoma sound, until you have an illegal procedure like that, false movement, because you can't get used to this noise sound. You can't hear the quarterback's cadence.
You heard Bob Stoops a moment ago talking about, hey, they'd gone to short and wide corners versus left and right, which they ran a year ago, Coach. That makes a big difference as far as the learning process. As that ball was overthrown. Bo Pelini was here last year as a coordinator. Went to LSU with Les Miles. He taught a left and right system.
Well, he had some NFL background, and with the hash mark so much towards the middle, the left and the right are exactly the same thing. But in college, the hash marks are out wide. There's a short boundary. There's a wide field that doesn't look the same. Less thinking, less assignments. That's the key to an aggressive, almost arrogant Sooner defense. Less thinking, let them play football. Only 8 interceptions last year. When they had 20 and 20 and 20 plus, each of the 4 years before that, they were doing too much thinking. Now they just wanted to be aggressive and play football.
All right, with that pass overthrown, TCU will punt it away. Brian Courtney standing back on his own 47-yard line. Check that, Derek Wash, who was the pooch punter. And he hits an end-over-ender, which will hit about the 5-yard line, and TCU can't get there. So Oklahoma will take over on their own 20. As we head back to New York and check in once again with John Saunders.
Thanks a lot, Doc. The Taco Bell update. Bowling Green in Wisconsin. Omar Jacobs last year, 41 touchdown passes, which is 4 INTs. He has one here, 17 yards to Corey Partridge and a 7-0 lead.
All right, thanks, John. Bowling Green, a very talented football team. As Oklahoma will take over their opening possession for the 2005 season at their own 20-yard line. Travis Wilson in motion, and they will fake the handoff inside and look downfield, wide open. Wilson at the 45, and it is just overthrown. Well, the first time in Bob Stoops' era, they will not have a quarterback who was recruited in 1999. Heupel, Hybl, and White all came into this year. This young man here, redshirt junior Paul Thompson out of Leander, Texas, takes over after what was a very tight quarterback battle with the highly recruited freshman Rhett Bomar. Thompson can throw it. He's got a great arm, as you saw a moment ago, maybe too good at times. A little adrenaline flowing there, but he can also tuck it and run, Coach.
I love the call. Gives the quarterback a chance to say, hey, the coaches believe in me. I'm new, but they're going to give me a chance to go deep. Yes, too much adrenaline, threw it deep.
All right, back to pass, and that one dumped off inside, and plenty of running room up across the 25 to Adrian Peterson. Take a look at the Oklahoma backs and receivers. We mentioned that the Heisman runner-up Peterson is back, along with the senior wide receiver Travis Wilson, who led the team with 11 touchdown receptions a year ago. Up front, 3 starters had to be replaced, including the Outland Trophy winner Jamal Brown. Joseph and Shashan on the left side are the most experienced. Now, no surprise that despite Oklahoma's success over the years with this guy right here, Adrian Peterson, running the ball, they go up throwing the ball early on because they are facing what was the worst pass defense in America a year ago. They were 117th out of 117 schools, talking about TCU. And the cadence switch up will get some motion up front, and the flag's flying. Were they drawn off?
Prior to the snap, false start, 52 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
That's the senior Chris Bush, the center, who began to move a little bit. He did a little bit of a head bob, and he drew off the defensive tackles, and will cost him 5 yards.
Penalty moves the ball back to the 22-yard line. 3rd and 8.
Paul Thompson had redshirted a year ago after the Heisman Trophy winner Jason White was able to get a 6 year of eligibility because of a medical hardship. He was a backup in 03, and on the mark, pinpoint passing out of bounds, the catch at the 44-yard line. That's an Oklahoma first down after a gain of 22.
It was a great flag route by number 3, Juwan Rankins. You'll see the beautiful throw. He throws it in the open air. Juwan Rankins, one of the most elusive receivers for Oklahoma, comes back and makes the perfect play. Beautiful play. The quarterback threw the ball where only he would make it. Critical third down job.
Rankins' elusiveness reminds a lot of people of the early years of one Mark Clayton, the all-time record holder here as a wide receiver. Peterson dances out of a tackle across the 50 and into TCU territory. Well, for Texas Christian defensively, they employ a 4-2-5 alignment. Up front, senior defensive tackle Renoris Ray is the Lombardi Award candidate. Defensive end Tommy Blake, a freshman All-American a year ago. Their linebackers, Hawthorne and Phillips, are relatively inexperienced underclassmen. And in the secondary, Modkins is the lone senior, and we mentioned this section here was really burned a year ago, 117th in the country, so there's nowhere to go but up this year.
You'll see Oklahoma in the shotgun right there, giving off to Adrian Peterson. It was stuffed by the defense, but that's what they want to do, get Adrian Peterson to run the ball out of the shotgun. But let's go back to the defense for TCU, a 4-2-2-5 defense. Why would you play 5 defensive backs against one of the best runners in the country? Well, it's not really 5. Both strong safeties actually can come up into the linebacker positions, and it becomes the old 4-4, 8-man front, stop the run. They try to have 5 defensive backs because in the Mountain West Conference, you have a lot of spread offenses, and the defensive backs have to match up. But against a running team, they put 2 safeties up to the line of scrimmage, and it's nothing more than old 8-man front football.
You saw Dick Bumpus a moment ago, the defensive coordinator and defensive line coach for TCU. We'll have a timeout on the field because TCU wants to talk it over. Back with more. We are still scoreless here in Norman, Oklahoma. Back at a sold-out Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma. The 38th consecutive sellout here. They sell over 71,000 season tickets. Remarkable here. They love their college football here in Norman, Oklahoma. 6th play of the Oklahoma drive headed your way. Opening possession for Oklahoma. That ball tipped away, and they're going to say it was an incomplete pass. Lindy Holmes, the freshman out of Dallas, just couldn't quite hang on.
You know, I think what they've done here, they've taken Paul Thompson, figured the defense would say, okay, they're not going to throw it too much with a young new quarterback, but they're going to run the football. They're showing TCU right now that the old game plan is in. This guy can throw it all. He doesn't make mistakes. And now they've got to guard the entire field. And again, it hasn't been successful yet. They're running away, but I think they've made a statement to TCU.
Well, sophomore Cody Freeby gets his first kick in game competition as the left-footed kicker gets a low line drive end over ender. It'll hit about the 4-yard line, and did they get it back in the field of play? They batted it back in, and yes, they're going to spot the ball inside the 1-yard line. Great coverage by Chijoke Anyanagicha, who batted the ball back in as they talk it over. The Big 12 officials down there on the goal line. Anyanagicha. And it's not where the player is, it's where the ball is. So we're going to see if they had a line judge and side judge watching as he came across. And now here comes the referee and Drew George to talk about it. Well, here's what they're looking at here. Watch the football. His foot didn't touch when he was touching the football, the line, and it looks like the ball didn't go over the line. So they're going to spot the ball inside the 5-yard line, where TCU will take over on offense for the second time today. Back in a moment.
Welcome back to Memorial Stadium, where 150 students just hit the stands for a good cause. OU students are walking through the stands collecting money for the Red Cross Hurricane Relief Fund. And this isn't the first time Oklahoma has done something like this. After 9/11, they walked through the stands as well, collected money for that relief fund. And guys, they raised nearly $70,000. Back up to you.
And Trini, thank you very much. They are all across the country today. People are taking up donations at college and other sporting events to try to help those who have been devastated by Hurricane Katrina. If you would like to help, there's the Red Cross Disaster Relief number on your screen a moment ago. And remember now, this is the first time in college football, aside from the Big Ten a year ago, that you can use the replay. 9 of 11 Division 1A conferences will use the replay. This is one of them in the Big 12. And what they will do, and it is a replayable situation where touching of the football on a kick, and there is the referee. Drew George is on the headset after the replays are being shown to a replay booth up here in the press box. One more look.
Does the ball go across the plane is the question. We get the ball players in the way right there. You can't see it from my angle, but that's why instant replay is so good. They get to use all the ABC cameras from every angle. So although you could not see exactly, there's another angle maybe to see does it cross the plane.
Correctly called on the field.
It has to be conclusive video evidence. Let's listen in.
The play was ruled correctly called on the field. TCU's ball, first down.
All right, they're saying the ball was touched inside the 5. Either the ball nor the player with contact were in the end zone, so TCU will take over deep in their own territory.
And you're right, it has to be indisputable video evidence, not a maybe. It has to be exact for them to change a call. Another great case of coverage, though. You talked about their kick coverage and their punt coverage, downing the ball inside the 5. This is field position here. This is not where you want to be for TCU.
Ty Gunn, second offensive possession of the day for TCU. On the first possession, they drove all the way to the 35 of Oklahoma. Has the receiver downfield, underthrows the receiver, and he was out of bounds. Quinley Harmon had about 2 steps on the defensive back, and the ball was underthrown. He was behind Lewis Baker, the strong safety, and Gunn just couldn't get it there.
You'll see right here as Ty Gunn rolls out, he has the open receiver who gets by the defender, and if he can keep the ball in bounds, has a big play. Out of bounds, even if he catches the ball, he's out of bounds. But again, if he could have kept that in bounds, the receiver was open, would have been a huge play coming off the goal line.
Obviously, Mike Schultz, the TCU offensive coordinator, his game plan to try to pick on some of those corners and young secondary players. Flags are down, motion, as Robert Merrill, the other 1,000-yard rusher, who has led TCU in rushing the past couple of years, gets up near the 9-yard line. We mentioned Lonte Hobbs and Merrill, 2 running backs that rushed for 1,000 yards for that man Gary Patterson in their freshman year. Hobbs in 2002, Merrill in 2003.
Illegal formation on the offense. Not enough men on the line of scrimmage. The previous spot penalized half the distance. Repeat, second down.
All right, Thursday night ABC starts the NFL season with a spectacular celebration as the Rolling Stones, Green Day, Santana, and many more take to the stage for NFL opening kickoff presented by Sprint. Then Tom Brady and the Super Bowl champion Patriots take on Randy Moss and the Raiders in a special edition of Monday Night Football. It all happens Thursday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on ABC. Well, a penalty will put it back. The ball spotted inside the 2-yard line. Second and long, Merrill in as the tailback. Gunn looks and fires one up at about the 7 or 8-yard line. The reception is made there by Corey Rogers, record-setting wide receiver from a year ago.
It was a dangerous throw into the flat. Dangerous throw into the flat to Rogers, although he's a great receiver. You see there, Chijoke Onyedegechi right there, played very nicely on the play.
And, Coach, it seems to me it's obvious the offensive game plan here for TCU is to pick on those corners and inexperienced secondary players for OU.
Without a doubt, they're going after the youngest part. The defensive front, very experienced, veteran defensive front. You got to be careful. They want to open up and throw the football.
3rd and 5 for TCU. Get some pressure, and the reception is made by the tight end, and he may be about a half a yard shy of the first down. Chad Andrus had to come back for the football as Gunn was getting some pressure from the outside.
And they will call for a measurement. We just joined our coverage. TCU took the opening kickoff and marched deep into Oklahoma territory in a 10-play drive and stalled down about the 35-yard line. Oklahoma moved back into TCU territory and then buried him deep with a punt. And as you saw there, that's a first down for TCU in this, their second possession offensively.
You talk about a quarterback with confidence, though. Both of those passes, the defenders have been right on the wide receiver and the tight end. He puts the ball right on the opposite shoulder. He's doing a great job of hitting a covered receiver. You can see how experienced he is and how much confidence the coaching staff has. We're talking about a turnover down here inside the 15-yard line. It could give momentum over to Oklahoma. That's what happens when you have an experienced quarterback that you can depend on.
First and 10 for TCU. Inside their own 15. Quick pass outside to Rogers. Cuts it back. Nice cutback. It'll get across the 15. As we check in back in New York with John Saunders.
Well, I'm checking Miami of Ohio facing Ohio State. Justin Zwick, remember, he is the quarterback today because Torrey Smith is serving a suspension. Finds Santonio Holmes 20 yards on the touchdown. Buckeyes on the board with a 7-0 lead. You see Zwick having a pretty good day early.
All right, thanks, John. And the Buckeyes got a big afternoon in the Horseshoe, and they have the Longhorns of Texas coming calling next week up in Columbus. Nothing doing whatsoever there for Robert Merrill. He may have lost a yard, not getting back to the line of scrimmage. How about Rufus Alexander, the Butkus Award candidate? He and Remy Iodell in to make the stop on the 1,000-yard rusher.
You'll see Rufus. This guy plays with a lot of emotion. He's quick. He's got speed. He's on the blitz there, locates the ball on the blitz, so if they don't run the ball, he can get to the quarterback. It's called blitzing through the run. If it runs, you got the blitz into it. If they don't run, they fake it. You're right there at the quarterback.
Coaches say he's like a coach on the playing field. Very, very smart. Knows the defense. Total perspective of what's happening in the secondary and the defensive front. And here he comes again trying to get some pressure. And that pass will be incomplete, and Corey Rogers wants a flag, but it will not come. Has great defensive coverage there.
Chachika Chichoki on Negetsu. Again, these guys, I tell you, the coverage has been very tight. Watch how tight now. Number 22, Anya Negetsu, right there.
Yeah, great defensive coverage by Anya Negetsu there. Chichoki right all over the record-setting wide receiver Corey Rogers. Ryan Courtney in to kick. He'll be standing inside his own 5. And Jawan Rankins, who is a speedster for Oklahoma, standing back at his own 40-yard line.
Dead ball, delay of game, 5-yard penalty, and repeat 4th down.
And Gary Patterson knows that his special teams were a bit of an adventure last year, and they wanted to make sure they had everyone assignment-wise blocked up front. Oklahoma known for their great special team coverage. Of course, this is the punt return team. There's Courtney out of San Diego. Low line drive spiral. Taking it to 47. Room for him to run, and Rankins will dance back to about the TCU 41-yard line. And Oklahoma will take over on offense for the second time this afternoon after a 41-yard punt and a 13-yard return. And you're watching Dr. Pepper's College Football Kickoff Weekend right here on ABC Sports. We are scoreless here in Norman, Oklahoma, as the Sooners of Oklahoma will get the ball offensively for their second time today. They have just 37 yards of total offense in their first possession, 8 rushing, 29 passing. And here again, Paul Thompson getting his very first start at quarterback, the redshirt junior, replacing, of course, the departed Heisman Trophy winner, Jason White, who led them to 2 BCS title opportunities the last 2 years. Adrian Peterson gets the call, tries to dance it outside. Great pursuit by the TCU secondary.
It's back to Adrian Peterson. He was knocked out of bounds by number 28, Jeremy Monken.
Nice shots of the
Beautiful.
Oklahoma campus here. Beautiful area here in Norman, Oklahoma.
And you know, it is hot today. I think we got to tell our watching audience, it's very hot out there. There'll be a lot of substitutions on both teams, especially TCU that does not have an off week the entire season.
A handoff inside, and great effort up front by the TCU defense. Renoris Ray, Jared Kessler. As Ray there on the stop.
And let me tell you about this defense. Now, they're not going to stop the offense running game with superior talent. They're going to stop it with superior numbers. I told you 4-2-5. They bring 2 safety downs. That means 8-man front. That means one guy is unblocked every time. That's having superior numbers in the box. Somebody that's unblocked is making the tackle.
That's what Frank Beamer and Bud Foster, his coordinator, have done so well at Virginia Tech over the years. Outnumber the offense with that 8-man front. 3rd and long for Oklahoma. Thompson back to pass, wide open at the 25-yard line is Rankins, and he will have the first down for Oklahoma. A gain of 16.
That's why you saw them throwing the ball with Paul Thompson early. You'll watch here, you've got Paul Thompson now. He's a 4th-year redshirt junior. This is his first starting job. He sets back, steps in the pocket. He's got man coverage because they're bringing players. He throws the ball to Rankins right there. Beautiful throw over the middle, a lot of poise. The one thing about Paul Thompson, he's calm, he's got poise. They say he's an old man in a young man's body when it comes to maturity.
Second offensive possession for Oklahoma inside the TCU 25. Thompson back to pass again and can't quite get it there. Overthrows the intended receiver. That's the tight end, James Bubba Moses. Well, near the conclusion of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each of our teams. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Our Chevrolet players of the game to be announced in the final moments here this afternoon.
That was really a nice throw. The ball, the player was covered. It was a nice throw. He had enough good decision-making sense to overthrow the football. Don't try to stick one in there. You're on the plus 22 with a chance to score here.
2nd 10 for Oklahoma. Trying to get some points early on. And they hand it off inside to the little guy, Jacob Gutierrez, who was only 5 feet 7 inches, 185 pounds. I don't believe he's 5'7". He's more like 5'5" and a half, and about 160.
Hey, I looked him eye to eye yesterday, and it was, I'm 5'5" and a half. But let me tell you, they see Quentin Griffin with this guy. He hides behind the offensive line. Watch him here. He shuffles over for the draw. He's hiding behind the line right there up the middle. You can't see him. He's no more than waist-high to these offensive linemen, and that's the kind of guy to run a draw with out of the shotgun. They love him over here.
Jacob recognized for his volunteer efforts earlier this year by the United Way here in Norman for all the things he does in the community. They fake it to him, and this time Thompson will take off. Ball comes out, and TCU will take over. A turnover at the 5-yard line. First of the afternoon. And Paul Thompson gets drilled at about the 6-yard line. The football comes out. And Eric Buchanan, the backup strong safety, will recover for TCU.
It was just a great hit. You'll see right here, it's a great hit. Helmet directly on the ball. I don't know if you can keep that ball. You got to put 2 hands. You see right there, Eric Buchanan, backup safety, makes the recovery right there. But watch the helmet on the ball. Helmet directly on the ball. Ball was being held, protected well. Eric Buchanan flying to the football.
Couldn't ask for a better tackle than that.
Absolutely.
Fourth tackle, putting the helmet right on the football, and Paul Thompson coughs it up. TCU taking over for the 2nd time inside their own 5-yard line. This time they'll hand it off to Hobbs, who will get maybe a yard. The Dr. Pepper College Football Kickoff Weekend on ABC Sports is being brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, one taste and you get it. By Chevy, the new Chevrolets, an American revolution. By IBM, become an on-demand business. IBM can help. And by Outback Steakhouse, no rules, just right. Shot of the beautiful Gaylord Hall. Gaylord family heavily involved here in Oklahoma. They donated a lot of money to the university proper, and also the stadium here is named after him. There's Rogers, who makes the catch and almost breaks the tackle as he will get the first down up at about the 19-yard line. We head back to New York in John Saunders.
Well, Iowa off to a good start already with a couple of rushing touchdowns, and then fielding this punt is Joe Vaughn Johnson, who takes it at the 10. Looks like he's bottled up, but skedaddles his way to the left and then picks up 2 blockers. That's all he needs. Speed the rest of the way. 90 yards on the punt return for the touchdown as Iowa is blowing out Ball State 21-0. Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thanks, John. Iowa finished the year last year with a big play, and this time TCU puts the ball on the ground, but they recovered. They'll call it the shovel pass. It was an incomplete pass, so it is not a fumble. By the way, Iowa finished the year last year in the Capital One Bowl on ABC with that great Hail Mary pass to upset LSU or to beat LSU in the final seconds of that one. Nick Saban's final game as a college coach.
Well, Drew Tate was MVP, offensive MVP in the Big Ten, 56-yard pass, but he's the reason many people pick Iowa as a co-favorite in that league. Him and the coming back of 4 injured running backs for Iowa. They have a great team. Kirk Ferentz, one of the best coaches in the country.
I think Iowa will be a very good football
Absolutely.
game. Iowa State predicted to be a major factor and possibly to win the Big 12 North this year. Ty Gunn wants a timeout to talk it over. Didn't like what he saw in the Oklahoma defense. He'll trot over and talk to Gary Patterson. We are still scoreless here at a sold-out Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma. Championship game against USC in the FedEx Orange Bowl a year ago. 5th play of this possession by TCU. The swing pass and nothing doing. Might have lost a yard. That's Robert Merrill, the tailback, who was trying to scamper away and lost. Actually, they're going to spot the football back at about the 12. He will lose 2 yards.
That's the speed of the Oklahoma defense. Mike Schultz, the offensive coordinator at TCU, said it reminds him of the old Star Trek movies. They don't go anywhere. They just get beamed there. They start at one place. They get beamed to the ball. It's that kind of speed that Oklahoma is known for.
Yeah, Brent Venables, Bob Stoops and company had their best recruiting class this past year. Even more speed coming your way for the Sooner fans. And right through the outstretched hands, that pass intended for Irvin Dickerson, the sophomore out of Beeville, Texas.
Dickerson was open. That's one I think Ty Gunn wishes he had back. He overthrew it, threw it too hard, overthrew it. It was going for a first down right there. Gunn wishes he could have that one back. Ty Gunn, highest percentage passer in TCU history, I want to say. 59%, highest TCU passer.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He is also the second winningest quarterback coming back in the country in terms of his winning percentage. At 10-2 as a starter, the only one that's won more than him is a guy named Leinart at Southern Cal. Brian Courtney will punt it away to Juwan Rankins. There's a look at Rankins as you get a shot at Brian Courtney, the junior out of San Diego, California. Had a low line drop kick a moment ago. This one a wobbly floater, and Rankins will call for the fair catch at the Oklahoma 45. Well, the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma is Chuck Long. He's the College Football Hall of Famer from Iowa. We asked him yesterday, talk about the quarterback situation, particularly your starter here, Thompson.
Between the two right now, he's our most consistent. Rhett is not quite there yet. We think he'll get there. He does make fewer mistakes with the football. He does take good care of the football, and that's what you look for in a quarterback. I always look at, hey, the quarterback has to learn to not beat yourself or not beat your own team before they learn to beat the other team.
Jerry, you know, we both came out of that meeting with him saying the same thing, that guy's going to be a head coach. He talks, he speaks, he has the demeanor of a head coach.
No doubt about it. He is very poised and he understood the game as a quarterback. Thompson gets it off, somehow being wrapped up by defenders, will get the ball off and complete it up the field to the fullback, J.D. Runnels.
Now, as a coach, I'm going to say I don't know if I like that play. He got it in there, but that wasn't necessary. He got back to the line of scrimmage, and that ball was thrown in a crowd to J.D. Runnels, the fullback. He won't run the ball much, but he'll catch the ball out of the fullback position once or twice. Be careful. Don't try to do too much. That's an example of a quarterback maybe trying to do too much.
Thompson showing what an athlete he is. They hand it off this time to Peterson, and he will get a yard. So thus far they have bottled up Adrian Peterson, who rushed for 1,925 yards a year ago. A freshman, NCAA freshman rushing record. There's the Heisman Trophy runner-up. Peterson has 5 carries for a total of 9 yards. 11 times a year ago he went over 100 yards in a football game. He has been held to less than 10 here, and we are in the final seconds of the first quarter, about to click away. Travis Wilson in motion, top of your screen. Thompson will look for Wilson, turn it around, and tuck it down to run. and he will dance out of a tackle and finally punish a defender and be shoved out of bounds about 1.5 yards shy of the first down. ABC Sports presentation of college football will return with this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television. Back in Norman, Oklahoma, getting ready to begin the second quarter, and Oklahoma will punt it away. Cody Freeby, the sophomore kicker. First time in 8 years Oklahoma's not had a Ferguson kicking. They had Jeff and Blake brothers kicking back-to-back over the last 7 years. And deep to receive, Drew Coleman, the speedster for TCU at his own 15-yard line. Left-footed kicker, the wobbly kick, taken at about the 15. The Dr. Pepper College Football Kickoff Weekend on ABC Sports is being brought to you by Hummer. Check out the H2. Hummer like nothing else. By Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And by Singular, raising the bar. Some of the beautiful sights here of what is a gorgeous campus and just an absolutely perfect afternoon for college football here in Norman. It's a bit warm. Temperature in the low to mid 80s. When we begin today, supposed to get over 90 degrees, which will be very, very hot down on the field. Ty Gunn on the option will get the pitch back to Hobbs, and he will not get back to the line of scrimmage. Check that, Robert Merrill, the junior from San Antonio.
As you'll see the great pursuit here, the option down the line, watch the pursuit of this team, and everybody gets there, but most importantly at the point of attack, the wide receiver does not make the tackle, make the block right there. Darren Williams, safety, Darren Williams comes through, breaks through the receiver's block and makes the tackle.
Take a look at that stifling defensive front for Oklahoma. 2 Butkus Award candidates in Alexander and Ingram, the linebackers. 2nd and 11, this time the inside handoff, and they may have lost another ½ yard. We are at a sold-out Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma, as the defending Big 12 Conference champion and 7th-ranked Sooners of Oklahoma taking on the newest member of the Mountain West Conference, the Horned Frogs of TCU, along with Trenny Kusnerick and the coach, Terry Boughton. I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us for what is a perfect afternoon for college football. Gary Patterson lacing up the shoes here, knowing 3rd and 11, deep in your own territory. They have got to move the football. Ty Gunn back in the shotgun, has Rogers, and he will fight his way up and should have the first down. Great second effort. Zach Latimer had a hold of him, the middle linebacker, and Rogers will gain 12 yards. He needed 11.5 for the first down for TCU.
Ty Gunn right here, he reads the safety blitz. Reggie Smith safety blitz, he hits the hot route right over the safety, the second safety over the top. Couldn't get there quick enough. There's the quick read, throw the hot route.
First down.
Corey Rogers makes the catch. Zach Latimer makes the tackle.
Rogers, the junior, 61 receptions, 836 yards, and 7 touchdowns. A year ago,
Oklahoma has decided that they need to blitz now. They're trying to get pressure with blitzes.
and TCU will take a timeout and talk it over. They saw the blitz coming. Back with more from Norman, Oklahoma in just a moment. Still scoreless here in Norman, Oklahoma. 13 minutes to play in the first half. And Texas Christian, or TCU, I should say, the Horned Frogs, want to be known as. After the completion, we'll have the first down. They have not had much success running the football, but throwing it, they've been very successful. And once again, the pump fake and the completion upfield. That's a Quinley Harmon, I should say. Check that, Derek Moore on a reception there, the sophomore out of Wisconsin.
What you got is a senior quarterback playing with young secondary people. He makes the pump fake to the flat, brings the support up, and makes the throw behind. A beautiful play by Ty Gunn.
And Derek Moore, nice catch, bringing the football down. We mentioned that TCU has run the ball 9 times and only had 14 yards rushing, where they have been much more successful. 15 pass plays for 76 yards.
Neither team has been able to run the ball very well, Jerry. It's amazing how much these two teams are both stopping the run.
Well, TCU will take a timeout as their quarterback wants to go over and talk it over with head coach Gary Patterson. Now it's time for our Aflac trivia question. This week's question is, who were the only two TCU players to have their jerseys retired in college football? A little bit of TCU history here, and they've had some great history over the years down in Fort Worth, Texas.
If you don't know the answer, you'll know it when you see it.
Only two jerseys in the history of TCU retired, and there are very, very recognizable names. Now, you heard Trini a little bit ago talking about the heat down on the field here.
Oh.
And we're already seeing some massage taking place there with some of the players trying to avoid the cramps.
The key, as always, is getting hydration to them before they cramp up. As you know, Doc, once you get the cramps, it's hard to go backwards.
Gary Patterson made a comment to us during our conference call that his players during their conditioning throughout the summer ran in the middle of the day, not in the morning or an evening when it was cooler, so they ran in the middle of the day to try to acclimate to the temperature. Because he said that not a single player in fall camp had to have an IV.
Yeah,
okay, off camera.
Yeah, he said he would play as many as 12 linemen, 7 linebackers, and 10 defensive backs. Not just this game, but in the first 3 games because he has no off week. It's hot, and he's got to get a lot of these people ready to play.
Trini, how hot is it down there?
It's pretty hot down here, you guys. In the shade, it's about 100 degrees. In the sun, our thermometer says it's about 115. Both trainers told me they're going to stress fluids, especially sports drink with salt in it, to prevent the cramping you guys were talking about.
Here's the end around wide open. That is Donald Massey, the speedster, cuts it back, has one man to beat on the outside, and he makes the tackle. A touchdown saving tackle by C.J. Ayu, the transfer from BYU via Snow Junior College. Great blocking, and what a great call by Mike Schultz,
exactly.
the
Look at the
coordinator.
See, they saw the pursuit. The pursuit. When you see people over pursuing the ball, overrunning, you run the reverse. You counter to the backside. Unbelievable. C.J. Ayu, a beautiful play of pursuing the ball, continuing to chase the ball down to make the tackle. Number 99, C.J. Ayu.
Donald Massey, the converted cornerback, on a 32-yard scamper. And for the second time here in the first half, TCU threatening in Oklahoma territory. Gunn completes the pass to Rogers, who nearly breaks the tackle down at the 21.
TCU spent a lot of time watching Southern California against Oklahoma, the championship game, not because they have the same talent, but because they wanted to see how many formations they use, how much movement, how much motion. They said that's what we've got to do. We've got to keep those young defensive backs thinking. They're throwing the ball a lot out of a lot of different formations, personnel groupings, and movement. And
this crowd of predominantly Oklahoma Sooner fans very quiet all of a sudden here at Memorial Stadium as TCU driving. Inside handoff, opening, and a couple of yards maybe for Robert Merrill. Well, tomorrow, Dr. Pepper College Football Kickoff Weekend on ABC features West Virginia, Syracuse at 1:30 Eastern. And Monday night, it could be the game of the year in the ACC as number 9 Miami heads to Tallahassee to take on number 14 Florida State in one of college football's great intra-state rivalries. That's Monday night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on ABC. And of course, Denny, your dad has a lot at stake in that one.
Yeah, Daddy's got a tough one on Monday. Tommy's got A&M this evening on ABC.
Dancing back and forth and nearly breaking through is Merrill again.
Picks up the first down again. They are a nice mix-up of running the play. Fake the little reverse. Nice play up the middle for the first down.
How about a call to the big guys up front for TCU? Michael Tudu, Shane Sims, Stephen Cook, Ben Angeli, and Herbert Taylor, the offensive line, doing a very nice job against a very athletic OU front.
Exactly. They have some seniors over there. That's a good thing. This is a line with a lot of experience, a lot of older men, that first group there. So not a lot of starters back, but experience. There's the change of direction.
Here is Gunn, has a receiver, tries to throw it back to the tight end. And he threw it a little shallow there, and Andrus couldn't hold on.
Not going to give Oklahoma a stationary target to hit. You're seeing the quarterback in a lot of different places. Gets rid of the ball quick. I really like this TCU offense. Even with Ty Gunn hurt last year, they had a pretty good offense last year. Top 20 offensive scoring offense. They never went downhill offensive. The one thing about TCU, It was kind of an aberration last year, their defense not being very good, because they've been very good on defense and a strong scoring offense.
5 wide receivers, empty backfield, gun, flags fly, and they will blow the play dead. Add some motion, it'll cost them 5 yards.
Prior to the snap, false start. 33 on the offense, 5 yards from the previous spot, still second down.
I tell you, there are penalties, and there are foolish penalties inside the red zone, plus 20. Everything counts. When you have a procedure penalty, a motion penalty, it's a foolish penalty, and it drives a coach crazy. This is where you have to put your thinking caps on. Don't make a mistake. Good, solid, quick count. Don't get a lot of false cadences. Don't get a lot of hard counts. Get there, get the ball snapped, get everybody on side.
And here's the sad part for TCU. They had 5 wide receivers. They had a flanker in there who was wide open on about the 12-yard line with no one covering him a moment ago. Let's see if they go back and run the same play. What did your daddy tell you about plays that work?
Well, hey, go them again. Keep on doing them until they stop working.
As they reset the clock here, our outstanding Big 12 officiating crew led by Drew George. TCU threatened on their opening possession in the first quarter, drove to the 30-yard line on Oklahoma territory before that drive stalled after 10 plays. And now the 10th play of this drive coming. The look off back to Rogers. He makes the catch and is drilled. What a hit at about the 16-yard line, and Rogers' helmet pops off. Marcus Walker out of Waco, Texas, who had been banged up in the preseason, just drilled Corey Rogers.
Yeah, made a great tackle, initial contact on the catch, a little slip screen. Right here, the quick pop to the quick string, looks one way, hits the quick. Now watch the quick. Marcus right here, lock up, lock the hands, then, oh man, the big pop. Big pop by Rufus Alexander. If the guy's got your leg hanging on, get down.
Actually, Walker had a hold of his feet. It was Clint Ingram who came in and just took the helmet off. That's the slobber knocker courtesy of Clint Ingram, the Butkus Award candidate. 3rd and 12 in the red zone. 4 wide receivers back out of the backfield. Gunn gets some pressure, throws it, has the receiver, and touchdown, Horned Frogs. A 16-yard completion to Derek Moore, the sophomore out of Cedarburg, Wisconsin, and Ty Gunn has put TCU on the board first here in Norman, Oklahoma.
Derek Moore playing out of the slot. Ty Gunn out of the arms of a defender, makes the throw. Derek Moore breaks a tackle. Put TCU ahead.
Derek Moore is a walk-on sophomore, and he catches a touchdown, the very first touchdown of the afternoon for TCU. And the kick is up and good by Peter Lococo. And with 10 minutes to play in the first half, the Horned Frogs of TCU have broken on top 7-0 over Oklahoma. Back in Norman, Oklahoma, a sold-out Memorial Stadium has suddenly gotten very quiet because TCU, the Horned Frogs out of the Mountain West Conference, have come out on top 7-0, an 11-play drive, 84 yards, 4 minutes and 49 seconds off the clock, and a 16-yard toss from Gunn to Moore, the sophomore walk-on, who fought his way into the end zone, and the Horned Frogs are up 7-0.
Ty Gunn, he's got such composure, 6'3", 220 pounds. He's so calm. He stands in there, throws the call, the right throw, hits the guy when he's covered. I can see why he's 10-2 as a starter and why he is the strength of this football team.
Peter Lococo about to kick it off. And by the way, the last time Oklahoma lost a home opener here in this stadium, September 7th, 1996. And guess who the team was? TCU. The Horned Frogs beat them 20-7. So, folks, history does repeat itself, but there's a lot of football yet to be played here this afternoon in Norman, Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
High kick down to the end zone will bound away, and Oklahoma will take it on their own 20-yard line. Now let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Great effort defensively here in the first half by TCU.
Here's the defense. What they're doing, overloading the box, not giving Adrian Peterson a chance to break into any open seams. Anytime he gets the ball, he gets hit. Then they finally get down inside the 5, and Paul Thompson gets hit. Great hit on the ball, fumbles it inside the 5-yard line with a perfect tackle, helmet on the ball.
Only turnover of the afternoon, that hit by a recovery by Eric Buchanan. And TCU able to punch it in, up 7-0. 10 minutes to play here in the first half. Thompson will fake on the play fake. Has a receiver, that's Wilson down the field, and the ball is overthrown.
All right, what's happened now? It's twice he's had a deep guy open, or at least he could have thrown that ball away from the defender to the side. That's twice he's overthrown. He's got to understand when you have a deep ball, it's more important to underthrow than overthrow. An overthrow ball is never completed. An underthrown ball to the right side, if he just leads him to the opposite sideline, away from the defender, it's going to be an easy catch. That's something Paul's got to learn because they're overloading the box.
Remember TCU secondary, worst in the country a year ago. They drop it off this time to Peterson, and great pursuit from the backside by Jared Redkowski. Redkowski there making the tackle on Peterson. Redkowski to back up for
Chase Ortiz. They're playing a lot of defenders now. He's fresh. He's able to run. It's hot. So they're playing their backups as well as their front four to keep the speed, to keep Adrian Peterson from getting outside on that screen play.
Well, how about this defensive front playing awfully well for TCU? Dick Bumpus and company getting these guys fired up to play.
Well, they were last in defense in pass coverage last year, not in run coverage. They have always been pretty sporty up front.
Getting some pressure on Thompson. He has to hurry to throw, and he grounds it in front of the receiver. The intended receiver was Lindy Holmes, and that means Oklahoma will have to punt. Well, we asked you earlier our Aflac trivia question. Who were the only 2 retired jerseys in TCU football history? And our answer, how about number 45, quarterback Sammy Ball. Led them to a national championship in 1935. They upset LSU in the Sugar Bowl. And number 8, Davey O'Brien, the quarterback in 1938, their second national title. By the way, Davey O'Brien, the very first TCU player and Southwest Conference player to win the Heisman Trophy. Well, Oklahoma will kick it away. And got some pressure, nearly got it blocked. The high floater back to Drew Coleman, who will call the fair catch. And TCU will have great field position as they take over on their own 46-yard line after a short 34-yard punt. Just over 9 minutes to play here in the first half in what is a very quiet Memorial Stadium here, the quietest I've ever heard 83,000 plus people be, as their Sooners of Oklahoma trail 7-0 and have struggled to move the ball offensively. Talk about the high-powered Sooner offense, Coach, and TCU has almost doubled the total yards on them here in the first half.
Double the time of possession, 14 minutes to 6 minutes, more importantly.
Hand off inside and maybe a half a yard by Lonte Hobbs. We told you that Ty Gunn doing a great job. We showed you 2 former TCU quarterbacks who both won national titles. Look at the winning percentage. Next to Howard Grubbs, Ty Gunn at 83.3% is the winningest quarterback in TCU history with a 10-2 record as a starter. Sammy Ball and is there. Chuck Curtis, Hunter Enos.
And as we said at the opening, him staying healthy is a key. He's only been able to play in 4 games each of his previous 3 years because of injury. He stays healthy, it won't be another 5 and 6 years.
2nd and 10, he'll throw it again. This time wide open downfield inside the 20-yard line, and a touchdown saving tackle by Clint Ingram. And that is Lonte Hobbs, the tailback. And oh my, if you're Bob Stoops, you got to be concerned about what's happening right now.
Watch the cornerback, Marcus. Here we go, Marcus right here. Marcus Walker steps up, misses the coverage. The safety does not come over top quick enough. At 2 deep coverage, what you're seeing, Clint Ingram has to make the tackle right there. Poor 2 deep coverage. The cornerback has to get a better hit on the wide receiver to slow him down to give the safety time to get over top.
A 41-yard gain, and now TCU has put up 142 passing yards in the first half. We still have 8 minutes to play. Gunn, the quick shot outside, nearly gets it picked off in and out of the hands of the intended receiver.
The one thing that TC wanted to do, you're seeing it, no back set there, an open backfield, change the formations, change the movement of the quarterback and the receivers, and keep the secondary off balance. This secondary, this defensive secondary especially, is playing on their heels. They're seeing things they couldn't see in practice. They're seeing things they could not anticipate TCU doing from last year's film, and they're not mentally able to handle it.
2nd and 10 for TCU. Ty Gunn, I formation. Hobbs the tailback. And Gunn will keep it on the option. A quarterback that's had trouble with injuries takes it himself inside the 10-yard line. And it has suddenly become a very quiet stadium. Let's check in that on the floor with Trine Kusneric.
Well, guys, it's also a very quiet OU bench. I was over there after the TCU touchdown. You would think there would be yelling, some firing up to get the guys going. It's not. It's very quiet. I talked to someone on the sideline who said they may really be missing Larry Burdine, who's always been a vocal leader for them. He is out with an injury, guys.
Larry Burdine is a leader, but Dusty Dvorak is their key leader. It's time for him to step up and get the other people fired up.
Yeah, Burdine tore a biceps muscle early in camp, and he wants to sit out the season. As Gunn throws one of his poorer passes, that one intended for Corey Rogers. Take a look at this offensive production. You talk about the high-powered Sooner offense, and TCU didn't get a lot of publicity coming in, but take a look. 196 yards in 35 plays, averaging 5.6 yards a play. Oklahoma in less than 100, and we just have over 7 minutes to play in the half.
No turnovers. That's the most important thing. Again, if they go for a field goal here to extend the lead to 10. Mike Schultz, offensive coordinator, said we must control the clock. Don't turn it over. Get the game to the 4th quarter.
Peter Lococo was inconsistent a year ago from 25 yards out. The kick is up and good, and TCU extends their lead to 10. 7:18 to play in a very quiet Norman, Oklahoma, with TCU up 10-0 over the Sooners. Back in Norman, Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, as TCU has quietened the crowd here with 7 minutes and 18 seconds to play. Up 10-0, the Horned Frogs in their very first game as a member of the Mountain West Conference. TCU, by the way, the 4th conference they've been a participant of in the last 11 years. They were a part of the old Southwest Conference in 1995 in the final year. The WAC from 96 to 99, Conference USA in 2000 to 2004, and now they are the newest member of the Mountain West Conference. Peter Lococo, this is the 25-yard field goal a moment ago. We'll tee it up. And Travis Wilson, the receiver, wide receiver, is upended at the 25-yard line. Coming up on the Valvoline halftime show, John, Craig, and Aaron will have highlights and analysis of today's big games, plus they'll discuss some of college football's key coaching changes. All that and more coming up in 7 minutes and 12 seconds on our Valvoline halftime show.
Yeah.
And, Coach, this score going around the country, TCU up 10-0 over Oklahoma, is going to be raising a few eyebrows.
Well, I don't remember the last time, I say the last time, other than the championship game, during regular season, they've been down in a game 10-0. They have an incredible regular season record. At halftime against Bowling Green last year, it was 24-10, but they started out much closer for one quarter. And something's got to happen. Adrian Peterson needs to break a big run, or they must hit a deep ball. This team, this TCU defense, is going to stay. Remember, we said a 4-2-5 defense, 5 secondary people, but when they put 2 safeties on the line of scrimmage, that's 8, and they've actually got the free safety up there 2 for 9. You've either got to hit a deep ball to one of those wide receivers one-on-one with the cornerbacks.
Take a look at Peterson's numbers. 5 rushes for 9 yards, averaging 1.8. Peterson, by the way, has had 3 running plays and 1 pass play for 0 yardage. He's been stopped at the line of scrimmage. They've got to get him on track. This time they hand it off to Kewan Jones, the backup tailback, who's been a little nicked up here in fall camp. And he gets, he may lose a yard.
Jason Phillips made the tackle again from his linebacker position. Well, what happens is now this tests your poise on offense. You know, Paul Thompson, he doesn't make mistakes, but the great characteristic of quarterbacks, do you have poise under pressure? And this is where your leadership skills, your ability to show your personality in the huddle takes over.
You saw Patterson talking to Bumpus, the defensive coordinator, a moment ago. Here is, and nailed behind the line of scrimmage. Thompson just gets hammered on the sack back at about the 18-yard line. Eric Buchanan, the backup strong safety, just racing by the blocker and just gets a face mask full of Paul Thompson.
Well, you know, in third down situations, there was a safety blitz that you could not pick up. You'll see right here comes the late safety blitz. The quarterback can't pick up. Now he's got to feel that defender, that rusher, and make the throw before he gets sacked. Now I will say if he doesn't complete the ball, they've got to punt it anyway, so he's going to hold on a little longer. But Eric Buchanan comes in, beats the late tackle trying to pull back on the block. Quarterback either needs to see it and get rid of it, but you can hold it a little longer because you're going to punt the ball away anyway.
Third straight 3 and out by Oklahoma's offense. That wobbly kick by Cody Freeby will hit in TCU territory, move back to Oklahoma territory, and a flag is down on the punt. A very short 28-yard punt by Cody Freeby.
This game has been played on the Oklahoma side of the ball because of those 3 and outs the entire second quarter.
As Drew George, our Big 12 referee, will talk it over. A couple of players were swatting at the football, almost as if they were trying to bat the football. Field judge came in with the flag from the corner. There's a look at Bob Stoops. Got to be wondering what the heck is happening here.
That's exactly right. You know, Bob is so positive.
During the kick, holding, number 10, White, penalized 10 yards from the spot of the foul. TCU's ball, first down.
Foolish penalty.
And holding on the receiving team, that's Ryan Slinger, the backup middle linebacker, junior out of Justin, Texas, and that'll cost him 10 yards. We told you Bob Stoops, the winningest active coach in college football, 67 victories in terms of percentage over the last 6 years. 6 bowl games, 3 Big 12 titles, and 3 BCS title games, but he's not feeling much like a champion right now. They are struggling here in the first half, down 10-zip. Flags come in as the big guy, Dusty Dvorak, steps across.
Prior to the snap, false start, 61, White, 5 yards from the previous spot, still first down.
Ben Angeli, senior out of Earth, Texas. Ben, who was a questionable starter today, had been banged up the last week or so in fall camp down at Fort Worth.
Well, if you're a coach at TCU, you're pulling your hair. You've had 2 straight penalties that kept you from being on about the 50. And you know if you're TCU, if you get a score here, it totally changes the way Oklahoma goes into the halftime.
You heard Trent Kusnierek talking about how solemn it was on the Oklahoma bench. TCU gets that completion and almost get back to the original line of scrimmage. Corey Rogers making the catch. And coach, mentally, if you're Oklahoma, you've coached these teams. You were the head coach at Auburn. You're heavily favored to win your home opener, and suddenly you're down, and you're struggling moving the football.
Well, what you've got to do is you've got to be in your kid's face on the sideline, not yelling, but keeping them positive. Keep them positive. Then, as a play caller, you've got to give the players something when you do get an offense to make a big play. But until that happens, keep them mentally pumped up, excited. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
2nd and 10, Merrill in motion, gun back to pass, dumps it off, and right in the hands of Quinley Harmon. And he drops the football. Third and 10 for TCU. Think back a year ago when a Mountain West Conference team opened up against a Big 12 team. It was A&M and Utah. And Utah won 41-21, went on to a 12-0 season and a 4th-ranked national ranking. So once again, Big 12 and Mountain West.
A lot of change, though, because last night Arizona, you saw Arizona got after Utah, almost beat them.
Ball start, 61 on the offense, 5 yards from the previous spot, still third down.
And these mental mistakes are going to be driving Gary Patterson nuts when he heads in at halftime. E.C. Patterson, who is all about discipline from his days at Kansas State.
Ben Angeli, the lineman right there, that's his 2nd penalty. He's a veteran. That should not happen. A little lack of composure. This series, 3 penalties right now.
Gunn on the inside, shovel pass, and once again a flag comes in.
That's 4 straight. 1 on the kicking game, 3 this series. Now, you're really blowing an opportunity here.
Prior to the snap, ball start, 61, offense, 5 yards from the previous spot, still third down.
You have to wonder if Angeli is just tired. He's had to miss some practice the last week or so, and maybe the fatigue factor. You know, they wanted him to play because he is the best they got at that position. But for 2 in a row, it's costed him a lot of yards.
Well, exactly. You get tired right there. You see TCU 8 penalties for 42 yards. Oklahoma doing well in that department. But Angeli, when you're tired, you lose your concentration and you don't pay attention to snap count.
That was the 5th false start for TCU. Gunn looking upfield, nearly has it picked off. The ball is batted away. Clint Ingram had got a hand on it. Let's check in back in New York with John Saunders.
And the Dr. Pepper update. Josh Betts makes a mistake here. Tosses one out to the flat, and Dante Whitner steps in front of it. 26 yards, wide open to go in for the interception. With the extra point, now 20-0, the Buckeyes in control.
All right, John, thank you very much. Buckeyes up by 20. They got the Longhorns of Texas headed their way to the Big Horseshoe next Saturday in Columbus. First 3 and out for TCU. And Brian Courtney standing back inside his own 15. A nice kick. Courtney gets a mortar shot all the way down to the 12-yard line for Oklahoma. Rankins cuts it back and will just get across the 20. While the TCU Horned Frogs up 10-0 with 4 minutes to play in the half. Who kept it himself, Bomar, the top prep quarterback in the nation 2 years ago. And here's a look at Bomar's first snap with the Oklahoma offense. Almost loses balance. Nice cutback by Bomar.
I tell you need something to happen. You need something big to happen right there. Backup quarterback comes in. Top prep quarterback in the country makes a big play.
Bomar out of Grand Prairie, Texas, a 28-yard run and the very first time he touches the football. Inside handoff to Peterson, who's trying to dance away, and Peterson will lose about 4 yards on a great tackle by Jason Phillips, a middle linebacker and converted fullback.
They faked it to Peterson on that big run by Bomar. Let me tell you something, they're going to stop Peterson. Keep faking it to Peterson, either throw it or run it. They're going to put everybody on Peterson. He's one of the best backs in the country, 1,925 yards last year.
Yeah, if somebody's going to beat us today, Gary Patterson says it isn't going to be Peterson. They have done a really nice job of hemming in Peterson, trying to run the football. Here is Bomar's first pass, and it is batted down as he gets leveled by Chase Ortiz, the defensive end, coming in.
That's just a poor job by the offensive line. That's not a blitz. That's just the defensive end Ortiz knocking the ball down. You'll see right there, Chase knocks the ball down. You got to have some lineman chopping at his feet, set back and then cut at his feet. Get his hands down. It's a quick pass.
Dick Bumpus, the defensive coordinator, defensive line coach, who, by the way, was a mentor to Gary Patterson at Utah State and Navy. Patterson actually worked under his current defensive coordinator as an assistant at those two schools and learned to be a coordinator himself. 3rd and long for Oklahoma. Ball underthrown. 3rd time today we've seen a pass underthrown when a receiver could have gotten it had the ball gotten there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're seeing. A redshirt junior and a redshirt freshman who haven't had a lot of snaps. They've got open people. Juwan Rankins right there open. He's been open a couple of times, not being able to hit the open receiver. That's what Oklahoma's going to have to do. I don't care. You've got Adrian Peterson. And once you do that a couple of times, then come back once in a while to Adrian Peterson. He'll make the big run.
Well, Cody Freeby will have to punt it away. And standing deep, a 10-3 100-meter sprinter in high school, Drew Coleman. There's a look at Coleman, who is a defensive back, and a high floating kick, and Coleman will wave it and take the fair catch at his own 20-yard line.
At the 20-yard line.
Well, if you see a great Pontiac game-changing performance today, nominate it at ESPN.com with the keyword Pontiac, and Pontiac will contribute $5,000 to the winning school's scholarship fund. And we could possibly have one in this game. Obviously, is TCU a huge underdog coming in, leading 10-0 with 3 minutes to go in the half.
I tell you, Oklahoma needs a 3 and out here. They've got a chance to get the ball back, but they've got to have a 3 and out. They've got 2 timeouts left, and they can have a chance to get that ball back. And of course, TCU wants one more drive to get into the half, 10 up.
4 wide receivers, 1 back, and the quick dump out to the receiver for maybe about a yard. That is Chad Andrus, the tight end.
I tell you, he did a great job of not going out of bounds, I want to say, to keep that clock running. No, he did go out of bounds. No, kept the clock running. You saw him stay in job. That was a great job right now. Keep that clock running, because right now you don't want to kick it back to Oklahoma right now.
Great first half by Ty Gunn, the fifth-year senior quarterback. 14 of 25 throwing the football. Make that 15 of 26 with that completion, 149 yards and a touchdown. High formation, 3 wide receivers for the Horned Frogs. Gunn back to pass, has the receiver Rogers at the 40-yard line. First down, TCU.
See, that ball was thrown on a rope. Marcus Walker on the coverage, cornerback for Oklahoma. And again, Rogers just did the slant inside. You'll see right here, Ty Gunn sets back, rifles the ball in to Corey Rogers on the slant. Marcus Walker makes the tackle for Oklahoma.
A year ago, Ty Gunn threw for 368 yards in the TCU opener against Northwestern. That game went into double overtime before the Horned Frogs prevailed on a 47-yard field goal. And once again, Gunn hot in the opener. And might have had some hold up there on the defender, on the intended receiver, Marcus Walker, grabbing on to Walter Bryan as he came by. If he doesn't grab him, Bryant's about 2 steps past him.
I tell you, they're working on old Marcus Walker a good bit. I don't know if it's by design to go against him or just to go to a certain receiver.
Number 24 on the defense. That's against an eligible pass receiver. 10 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
If we can see what happened, watch Marcus grab the receiver.
It's a quick hit, almost a read of a blitz. It's a quick throw in there. Well, you see he pulls his arm around him right there. Marcus Walker was injured his shoulder in preseason. He's had a tough preseason, but he did start the last 2 games last year. He's got a lot of talent. They like him, but he's being worked on right now by the TCU offense.
Yeah, Walker had 4 starts last year, had off-season shoulder surgery, missed spring ball, and then dislocated the other shoulder in August camp, so he hasn't had a lot of time on the field in his defense. Monte Hobbs, the 1,000-yard rusher, is the lone setback. 3 wide receivers. Option to Hobbs, who gets the pitch, has some running room, and you talk about that speed defensively for Oklahoma. Great pursuit and closing effort by Zach Latimer. And Gunn just took a hit and is gone down. Ty Gunn, we told you, he has only started 12 games. He has missed 21 games in 3 years. And his most serious injury came in 2002 when he tore ligaments in his right knee against Southern Miss. He takes the hit. That's John Williams, the backup left end for Oklahoma. We told you Gunn has had a series of injuries. There's a look at the knee injury. The ACL repair in 2002, had a shoulder dislocation, a groin injury, a broken finger in 2003. First 4 games last year, they were unbeaten until he goes down. They have an ankle against Texas Tech. In fact, a year ago, this TCU team was up 21-0 in the second quarter against Texas Tech. He goes down, and they lose 70 to 35.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that was a key game. Right here, you're seeing again just the weight of the defender, John Williams, on the quarterback.
Oh, but he just got his breath knocked out, and apparently that is the case. Just got hit right in the chest as Ty Gunn gets up and walks off. They only had 2,500 tickets here for the TCU Horned Frog faithful, and they sold every one of them. And everyone they can get their hands on. They've got a pretty small contingent here, but they are standing and applauding as Ty Gunn walks off.
Everyone a sigh of relief by 2,500 people. Jeff Ballard comes in again as the backup quarterback. Mike Schultz said he's the guy you put it if you're ahead. You may go with Hoffman if they're behind. He's got the better arm.
Friendswood, Texas is where Ballard is from. He'll hand it off to the tailback. That is Hobbs, and he will be inside the 40. That should be enough for another TCU first down.
We haven't heard much from running backs on either side. Lonte Hobbs, though, again, another 1,000-yard rusher as a freshman. And we'd like to see it with Ballard, the backup quarterback, coming in for a few snaps. You would like to see the running backs have some success, take the pressure off Jeff Ballard. Again, he made second team and was named second team basically because he didn't make mistakes. Chad Huffman, the third teamer, really has the big arm.
Got to be a huge surprise here in the first half. TCU with 236 yards of total offense against an Oklahoma team known for speed and athleticism on defense. And do we have the 6th procedure penalty on TCU? The flag has come in. There's Ty Gunn up walking around on the Horned Frogs sideline. Should be coming back in momentarily.
False start. Number 81, covered receiver, came off the line of scrimmage, 5 yards from the previous spot, still first down.
Yes, we have number 6 on TCU if you're keeping score at home.
Another senior, Chad Andrus, again, lining up incorrectly, causing the penalty of tight end Chad Andrus.
And Ty Gunn trots back on the field as you hear the Horned Frog faithful cheer in the background. 1st and 15 here in the final minute and a half of the first half. And the football comes out.
There's a fumble on the play.
As the flags come in, or a couple of flags come in, he might have had some movement there in the defensive front.
Either that or offsides. It's almost as if he jumped over to get the blitz and was caught offsides.
Yeah, Gary Patterson wants them to note the flag there. They'll see it.
Offside, number 44 on the defense, 5 yards from the previous spot, still first down.
Great call, Coach.
Well, Clint Ingram, again, he's anxious to blitz. He's right there in the center guard gap. You'll see him, but he gets that arm across the line of scrimmage too soon. And again, he's not the one that caused the fumble, but because he was offsides, the fumble is taken back. 5-yard penalty. Little things.
Talk about this Oklahoma defense that lost 2 fabulous defensive ends a year ago. Dan Cody, who was the Hendricks runner-up, along with all-conference Jonathan Jackson. They have 3 defensive backs that have gone to the NFL, 10 players drafted. Huge losses for Oklahoma in the offseason. And that pass nearly picked off. They will call it incomplete as he was on his knees. Well, how about the last time Oklahoma was trailing at the half? November 6, 2004 at Texas A&M. They were down 28-21 and came back to win 42-35. By the way, that was the game that Adrian Peterson re-injured his shoulder in. He had off-season shoulder surgery, and Oklahoma had to fight back to win that one.
This is a much younger team. It's going to be interesting how they do respond.
Final minute of the first half. Big opening right side, and Hobbs will get down near the 35. Rufus Alexander makes the stop.
Rufus has such great closing speed. I saw that big opening that you saw, but it just was there, and then it was gone. The linebackers, Ingram and Alexander, all 3 linebackers, as a matter of fact, Latimer, Ingram, and Alexander all have been around the ball all day long. 5 tackles, 4 tackles, respectively.
239 yards of total offense. Final 20 seconds of the first half, and Gunn will try to fall on it. And Oklahoma may have gotten it here. Oklahoma will indeed take over. First turnover of the first half by TCU, and Oklahoma will have maybe 2 plays and 14 seconds remaining in the half.
Oh, quarterback mistake there. You see the quarterback take his eye off the ball now. Just try to get on it.
Yeah, big John Williams comes in and dives on it from his backup defensive end position. And possibly Oklahoma will have a shot to get some points here.
What happened there? You can see. Watch Ty Gunn. He'll be looking at the blitz to the left. Watch his head to the left. Eyes to the left. He doesn't pick up the ball. He's trying to make a read. Mistake that you can't make, but he's got his eyes off the ball. John Williams making the fumble recovery.
4 wide receivers. Bomar, the quarterback, will throw toward the end zone. Has the receiver at about the 34. And they're going to say got out of bounds with 5 seconds on the clock. That was Quentin Chaney.
Timeout.
Oklahoma wants a timeout. Bomar, the redshirt freshman, after the 17-yard completion to Chaney.
Trying to get half of it back right there. You got 14 seconds to get half of it back.
And watch the lick that Bomar takes from the defender.
Chaz Ortiz.
Welcome to Big Time College
Yeah,
football,
welcome.
Brett. I tell you, I've been impressed. Bomar in his very first snap a moment ago, a 28-yard run from scrimmage. on the fake option to Peterson, and showed a lot of poise and composure for a redshirt freshman here.
I'll tell you, when he was not named the starting quarterback this week, they named Paul Thompson. He says, I ain't giving up. I'm not giving up. I want that job, and I want it now, and I'm going to fight for it. And you see he's a crowd favorite, too. #1 prep quarterback when they signed him 2 years ago.
We are at a sold-out Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma, along with Trini Kusnerick and the coach, Terry Bowden. I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us. The defending Big 12 champion and 7th-ranked Sooners of Oklahoma on the ropes here in the first half. Courtesy the newest member of the Mountain West Conference, the TCU Horned Frogs. Up 10-0, but a turnover a moment ago as Ty Gunn was trying to run the clock out. Has given the ball back to Oklahoma with just 6 ticks on the clock. And remember, the last time Oklahoma lost a home opener was to this TCU club back in 1996, September 7th to be exact, 21-7. Here is Bomar and has the receiver, that is Wilson, down at about the 32.
To Wilson, number 4.
Obviously, they want to go for one field goal shot, try to get something going, something on the board before halftime.
And this has to be a shocker if you're Oklahoma head coach Bob Stoops. You've had so much success. You've got so much talent coming off your best recruiting class of the year. They had 15 players. They lost 15 players last year that were starters, and they've certainly had to retool quite a bit.
Well, you almost hate to ask him, are you rebuilding or reloading? Because you know he doesn't like to hear that rebuild word, but that's been everybody's question this year.
Well, Oklahoma may have gone unbeaten in the Big 12 a year ago, but the biggest disappointment they've had in the Bob Stoops era occurred in the FedEx Orange Bowl 1 year ago when they played the top-ranked Trojans of USC. Matt Leinart, 332 yards passing and 5 touchdowns. Second consecutive loss for Oklahoma in the BCS title game. Yeah, that was the dejection for the Sooners of Oklahoma, and they tried to get over the hangover when they came back. Bob Stoops said, put that one behind you, folks. We got a new season coming up in 2005.
But he's got new players, lost a starting quarterback, 4 wide receivers, top 4 wide receivers, 3 NFL drafted defensive backs lost off of that team. And again, you have to wonder now, are you going to replace those guys with the younger guys that are going to play just as good? We're seeing right now, at least for the first half, it's a tough start.
Garrett Hartley has nailed a couple of 50-plus yarders in the spring. This one will be 49 yards out to put Oklahoma on the board. It's long enough, and it is no good. As the first half will end here, and TCU is pulling off a shocker in Norman, Oklahoma. A rebuilt defensive secondary. They were the worst in the country a year ago. And Gary Patterson wants all his players to line up and listen. He's got his team huddled right in the very middle of the field. Gary Patterson, extremely team-oriented, wants to tell his players, think about the first half. We're going to go in the locker room and think about what's going to happen in the second half. Meanwhile, the Oklahoma coach is standing by with Trini Kusnerick.
Coach, you have the ball first thing, second half. What is the key adjustment you need to make on offense to put the control in your favor?
Yeah, well, we got to be able to run the football. We haven't been able to do that. When we did, we drove down. We turned the ball over on the 5. We got to get some consistency running the football to open up some passing.
All right, thank you very much, Coach.
All right, our score at halftime here in Norman, Oklahoma. TCU 10, Oklahoma nothing. Coming up next, the Valvoline Halftime Show with John Saunders, Craig, and Aaron Taylor. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television.
Opportunities to hit the deep ball, to have a big play. The first time he's got a wide over Rankins out there. Yuan, you see him right there. Overthrows it. Don't ever overthrow a deep ball. It's never caught. Comes back again. Rankins coming across the field, leading to the other sideline. Don't overthrow him. And right there again, Travis Davis. Wilson again right there, but he overthrew 2 deep balls. That would have been 14 points for Jason White.
Only 114 yards of total offense by Oklahoma in the first half. Remember, they got Adrian Peterson back. Oklahoma, TCU, a defense that gave up over 40 points to 5 different opponents a year ago. Now, moments ago, our Trini Kusnerick spoke with the TCU head coach.
All right, Coach, you have to be happy with your first half. The one thing I would think you want to do is maybe clean up the mistakes, especially the penalties on offense.
Well, we do, and you're playing a team that's playing the national championship game the last 2 years, so playing in their house, their fans, so we know we got to play another 30 minutes of football, and hopefully we can stay ahead by 1 point, then we'll have a chance to pull out a victory, but we got a lot of work to do.
Thanks very much, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
All right, Trenny, thank you very much. Gary Patterson, an emotional guy, and what a job he and his staff have done taking a defense that was 117th in the country last year in pass defense and gave up 40 points or more 5 times. They have shut out Oklahoma and Adrian Peterson in the first half. Just an unbelievable performance by the TCU defense.
You know, coming off the field, Bob Stoops said they had to run Adrian Peterson more and better. They do, but until you hit a few deep balls, you're not going to spread them out. You can't get in the open running lanes with 9 guys on the line of scrimmage.
Peter Lococo will kick it as it heads downfield, take it inside the 30, and a lick head high. And that is Lindy Holmes, who took the pass, who took the kickoff, by the way, and got hit at about the 25. And that's where Oklahoma will take over here in the second half. First half numbers for Adrian Peterson, folks. It's not a misprint. You know, he just 8 carries for 5 yards.
They have done a great job again of overloading the box. They're going to take away the run. I can't say it enough. They're going to take those defensive backs. Those 5 defensive backs, put 2 in the front, so a 4-2 becomes a 4-4 8-man front.
Paul Thompson back in at quarterback, gives it to Peterson. You heard Bob Stoops say we've got to get Adrian Peterson running the football. Take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. The first half stats here. The numbers all favor TCU. Total offense for the Horned Frogs, 225 yards, 167 of it through the air. Second play of the second half, and that time Peterson will cut it upfield and tries to get outside, gets his feet cut out from under him by Bonner and Coleman out there on the stop.
Well, the one thing they have done, they've gone back to the I formation. And we talked to Chuck Long yesterday, and he said, you know, we're going to go to phase 2 this year, get in the gun and get Adrian running out of the gun. Well, you know what? He is a classic I back first. They may get to that, but to get their running game going with Adrian Peterson, they need to put him in the I formation, put J.D. Runnels in front of him, knocking somebody on their rear end, just like they've been doing last year and the year before and the year before.
Well, here's what you called for, Coach. I formation, Runnels and Peterson. They fake the ball and throw it wide open up the field is Travis Wilson. He will have the completion up at about the 40-yard line, inside the 40 to about the 37.
What you do, you get in your formation, your I formation with 2 backs and a tight end, which means 9 defenders will be in front of the offense. Look at the offense right here. You've got 9 defenders in front of your offense because you've only got 2 wide receivers. It gives you single coverage, 2 corners on an island right there. An easy throw to Travis Williams for the big completion. If you're going to get that, Drew Coleman makes the tackle. But if you're going to get one-on-one receivers, this is the formula. As I ran the I formation my time at Auburn, those are the plays you've got to run, one-on-one routes to the wide receivers and I formation.
First and 10 in TCU territory. Opening possession of the second half for the Sooners of Oklahoma. Heavy dose of Adrian Peterson, and why not? He had 1,925 yards a year ago and had only a handful in the first half. He carries it down near another first down at about the 30-yard line.
Again, that's the 3 wide out, 1 back I formation, the zone play to the weak side, but it gives deep handoff to Adrian Peterson where he can see the holes and see the line of scrimmage from a deep backfield position and do what he does best.
You've coached from behind many times, unfortunately, Coach. I know you guys have come back and won ball games. This opening possession in the second half, critical for Oklahoma.
Absolutely. The tempo that they've shown coming out of the locker room is everything you would expect out of an Oklahoma team.
They'll give it to Peterson again, and he will have the first down at about the 26-yard line as he lumbers ahead for about 3.5.
It's almost as if the coaches went back and said, okay, we tried some things that we want to become good at. Now let's go back and what have made us what we are with Adrian Peterson. 1 back, 2 back I formation, run the ball, play action to your 2 wide receivers, your 2 veteran receivers, Juwan Rankin and Travis Williams.
Winningest coach in college football, 67 victories in the last 6 years, and he's trailing by 10 at halftime. As Oklahoma comes out and tries to just grind it out on the ground. That time it is Kewan Jones, the backup tailback, giving Peterson a bit of a blow.
That left side of the line, Joseph, Shashun, and Bush, all veterans who played a lot of football. Those guys, when you bend that ball back behind the center, those guys have put a lot of reps in. Davin Joseph, maybe the best NFL guy on that team, left tackle.
2nd and 6, Oklahoma opening drive of the second half. They pitch it back to Peterson. He will be inside the 20-yard line. Check that, that's Kewan Jones once again carrying inside the 20.
And when they've got to get a play, you'll see right here, they go behind the big man, Davin Joseph. He's a massive 6'4", 312-pound tackle, plays the left tackle, and is going to be the guy you want to run behind when you run that ball up the middle.
Thompson in the shotgun. Hands it off and down nearly inside the 10-yard line. A touchdown-saving tackle down there by Quincy Butler, the left cornerback.
Now that's the phase 2. That's the shotgun running of Adrian Peterson. You've got a passing situation. You slide over, you get the draw. Now he's still got the open. The one thing about that formation, it does allow Adrian Peterson to run in space. Allows them to spread the defensive out and get bigger seams. It all starts with that eye backfield, I guarantee, though, for Adrian Peterson.
Heisman Trophy runner-up a year ago, had only 5 yards in the first half. Make it up for it here early in the second half. Peterson on the edge, 5-yard touchdown, Oklahoma.
We said before the game they had Peterson. We didn't know what else. They've still got Peterson.
Opening possession of the second half, and Bob Stoops said going in at halftime, we're going to give the ball to Adrian Peterson, and why not? It's exactly what they have done. They just drive it right down the Horned Frog's throat. We've got a shocker going on here in Soonerland, Norman, Oklahoma, a sold-out Memorial Stadium where TCU was up 10-0 at halftime, but in the opening possession of the second half, it has been a heavy dose of Heisman Trophy runner-up Adrian Peterson. Oklahoma drives it the length of the field and gives it to guess who? Adrian Peterson from 11 yards out. And now it is 10-7 TCU early in the second half.
Raiders, Patriots, Thursday night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC.
Back in Norman, Oklahoma, opening possession of the second half, a 9-play, 72-yard Oklahoma Sooner drive. Heavy dose of Adrian Peterson, 6 carries for 43 yards for Peterson. As the Oklahoma Sooners finally get on the scoreboard here with 7 points in the opening possession of the second half.
I tell you, conventional wisdom says you have to throw the ball to open up that running game, but they said heck with that. They threw it one time, and they got Peterson in the I formation almost every time and just ran it down. Didn't care about how many numbers were in the box. Just run it down their throat.
All right, Garrett Hartley will tee it up and kick it off for Oklahoma as Rogers and Coleman, a pair of speedsters, wait at their own goal line. That is Corey Rogers. He will take it and be held inside the 15-yard line. We told you Oklahoma led the Big 12 in kickoff coverage a year ago, and once again smothering kickoffs here inside the 15. Now let's take a look at our Chrysler passing playbook, Coach.
Well, again, with TCU wanting to get ahead of the game. Ty Gunn, watch here. You got your Derek Moore, your slot receiver coming across the middle. Ty Gunn, poised, experience, sets in the pocket, waits for it to come open. Now he's got pressure. He waits, throws in, breaks a tackle. Derek Moore sticks the end zone. TCU eventually goes up 10-0 by halftime.
All right, opening possession for TCU. Here is Ty Gunn back, and he has the receiver downfield again over the 30-yard line. And that is to Matt Grimmett, the senior out of Snyder, Texas. Exactly what TCU was able to do for much of the first half when they threw for 167 yards, a 16-yard gain. Gunn to Grimmett.
Well, watch what the defensive secondary is facing. Here's the option down the line, the opposite side, and throwback to Grimmett, running back to the opposite side. If you're a young, new secondary man, that's more than you want to see in one play. You've got the option down the line, drop back for a pass, and throw it in the other direction.
Make the handoff inside, wide open up the field at the 40-yard line. Here's another receiver That is Quinley Harmon, the junior. That'll be close to another first down for TCU.
I want to say they faked the draw, faked the quarterback draw, and then made the throw. Again, that's just a great way of mixing it up. We talked to Mike Schultz 2 days ago, offensive coordinator for TCU, who said we need to show them a lot of motion, a lot of formations, a lot of personnel groupings. And again, that's why they were able to be ahead of this ball game 10-7.
One player down for Oklahoma on the field, and he'll be attended to there. That is Clint Ingram, the left linebacker, the Butkus Award candidate, as we check in back in New York with John Saunders.
Well, Rutgers trying to get to a Big Ten team in the first week. Again, look at that leap by Brian Leonard. And then it's just clear sailing. 83 yards, the touchdown run. Remember, Rutgers beat Michigan State opening week last year, then lost to New Hampshire the next week. Right now with a 27-10 lead as the Illini have just added a field goal, about 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. Dr. Punch, back to you.
Thank you very much, John. Of course, Rutgers beating Michigan State last year at home. This one, this lead right now on the road in Big Ten territory at Illinois. So
I tell you, Rutgers, you just keep waiting and hoping that program will get turned around, and yet it just seems like they can't do it. So many great athletes in New Jersey. If they can all just keep some of them there at Rutgers. There you see Clint Ingram walking off the field, number 44. He's a valuable linebacker. He's been all over the field. He's one of their leaders, returning starters on the team. He's got 4 tackles. He's broken up a couple of passes with rushing the quarterback, and that's one. Demario Pleasant behind him will come step in.
You saw athletic trainer Scott Anderson, the head athletic trainer, walking off with their Butkus Award candidate. Second and a couple of inches, about 4 inches, as the look of very concerned defensive coaches there for Oklahoma. That is Brent Venables you saw a moment ago, and they're not booing. You hear that? They're saying roof in the background.
Well, just like Clint Ingram earlier, they put him on the end of the line of scrimmage and blitz him across the line of scrimmage, and that way it's almost a blitz that takes on the run, and if they don't run,
and they're going to walk off 5 yards on Oklahoma. On an offsides on Demario Pleasant, the backup linebacker who went in just a moment ago for the injured Clint Ingram. So that negates a pretty nice little defensive effort there a moment ago by Oklahoma. First down for TCU as they approach midfield for the first time here in the second half. Little shovel pass inside, and they will get about 3.5 to 4 yards from Donald Massey. By the way, Massey, who's the young man that they pulled off the reverse in the first half, the 32-yard run by Massey would set up the touchdown pass in the second quarter of Gun to Moore.
Again, running in personnel, running out different personnel. They'll play with the tempo too. TCU does a great job of playing with the tempo. That is, although they huddle, they will sprint out, sometimes give a quick count, other times a hard count to pull you off. They pull linebackers off twice so far today.
Two tight ends, one in motion. Here is Gunn. He will fake the hand, and he is nailed for a huge loss back at about the 37-yard line by John Williams, who knifes in from his right defensive end position.
That's his third big hit. John Williams is making a big showing today, filling in for Thibodeau, Calvin Thibodeau. You'll see Angeli pulling and not getting there just in time. Angeli did not get there in time. And my goodness, Williams comes in, makes a perfect hit on the quarterback. Unable to pull up under him.
That loss of 10 yards, it'll bring up a third and about a half a mile. 5 wide receivers, empty backfield for Gunn. Over the middle, he will hit his running back, Robert Merrill, who will get back near the original line of scrimmage, and that's about all.
Yeah, Zach Latimer making the hit. They'll give you that on 3rd and long. They'll give you that underneath pass right away.
And listen to this crowd starting to climb back in this one now. Over 83,000 on hand. They were very quiet in the first half as they applaud the efforts of the Oklahoma defense.
Oh, momentum is starting to jump off of TCU and onto the Sooners right now. Big offensive drive now, a big defensive stop. Let's see what happens next series.
Ryan Courtney will punt it away for TCU. Lindy Holmes standing deep inside his own 20. A short punt hits it about the 24, will bound inside the 20, and Oklahoma will take over on their own 20-yard line. Sooners battling back, still trailing by 3 points here early in the second half. The Dr. Pepper College Football Kickoff Weekend on ABC Sports is being brought to you by Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard. By Polaroid. By Wrangler, makers of Wrangler Jeans Company, a new generation of Wrangler. And by Allstate, a proud sponsor of the Bowl Championship Series. Gary Patterson's team up. The Horned Frogs of TCU 10-0 at halftime, and Oklahoma took the opening second half kickoff primarily on the strength of the running game. Bob Stoops said at halftime, we're going to run the ball heavily with Adrian Peterson, and why not? They just jammed it right down the Horned Frogs' throat to put 7 points on the board. 10-7 here in midpoint of the third quarter. Adrian Peterson being pursued and will fight his way forward for a couple of yards. Let's take a look at Adrian Peterson in the opening drive here in the second half.
I tell you, they've got him back in the I formation. What he likes to run is back there behind the quarterback. Then he can see the hole deep and then use his speed right here. They've got everything covered, but he just uses his speed to get outside. And again, once he gets in the open field, he's hard to bring down. Most of the time, though, you saw him going north and south, trying to get north and south and back up field. And in the last play, breaks it out wide for the 11-yard touchdown run. All Adrian Peterson. Let me tell you something. When they've got 8 defenders, you've got 7 blockers, they tell the tailback, hey, you got the safety. He's on you.
This time they fake the Peterson, hit the pass outside. That is to Travis Wilson, and he is slung out of bounds beyond the 30-yard line. That will be another Oklahoma first down.
That's kind of what it's become the second half, as we talked about on the opening drive of the second half. You've got Adrian Peterson taking on the unblocked defenders in the box, and you got 2 wide receivers with one-on-one routes. So you're either going to have Adrian Peterson going to make somebody miss and make yardage, or you got 2 wideouts covered one-on-one. You can see both wideouts right now. There's Rankins to this side, down here to the Oklahoma sideline.
Again, the play fake to Peterson. Here is Thompson back getting some pressure, and he will unload it upfield and almost gets it picked off. He tries to throw it away, but a poor pass, barely getting the ball out of bounds.
Well, once you get outside that tackle box.
This weekend, join ABC Sports in Boston, where Tiger Woods heads the field at the Deutsche Bank Championship. Don't miss live third-round coverage tomorrow at 5 Eastern, and Monday, final round coverage begins at 3 Eastern right here on ABC Sports. And, of course, Tiger Woods in the lead with a great opening round effort yesterday.
Going back, Paul Thompson there. When you get outside that tackle box, the receiver ran into the defender. Nobody was open, and he got outside, and then he just threw it away, not really at somebody. You're right, though. He could have thrown it about 5 yards out of bounds. The 1 yard was a little bit nerve-wracking.
At halftime, Bob Stoops talked to our Trini Kusneric on the sidelines and told her we're just going to give the ball to Peterson in the second half, which is exactly what they have done. And in the opening possession, they couldn't stop him. They're having a little bit better luck now. Robert Henson. And boy, are they ever high on number 51 in the white and purple. Henson, the backup linebacker, has got a very bright future. There's a look at Henson, the freshman out of Longview, Texas. And they talk about his strength and his speed, 6'1", 220 pounds. Very bright future as a Horned Frog.
Got a fast motor, folks. He likes to play. He likes to play full-time all the time. And he's competing for every single linebacker, both linebacker positions. And he's going to be a great player for them before it's all done.
3rd and 9 for Oklahoma, second possession of the half. Thompson waits, tries to get a receiver, almost got it picked off as he threw behind Travis Wilson. What's happening up in Buckeye Land? Let's check in back in New York with John Saunders.
Well, the Buckeyes have their 3rd-string quarterback, Todd Beckman, in there, and he finds Ted Ginn Jr., who couldn't be more wide open. 42 yards on the toss, and the Buckeyes looking ahead to Texas, 34-0 the lead.
Oh my, the Buckeyes very impressive in the opener, and folks in the Big 12 territory know that the Texas Longhorns head that way next Saturday for a showdown there in the Horseshoe. Wobbly punt by Cody Freeby. Taken back at the 20. And this young man can fly. He doesn't get much of a chance, so we'll get up across the 30-yard line. That is Drew Coleman. And TCU will take over on offense on their own 31. A 45-yard punt and 10-yard return. You're watching Dr. Pepper's College Football Kickoff Weekend on ABC Sports. Here in Norman, Oklahoma, TCU up 10-7. They led 10-zip at halftime. And Oklahoma, on the strength of Adrian Peterson, 6 carries, 43 yards to open the second half in a drive. Drove the length of the field and put 7 points on the board. Peterson, by the way, had 5 total yards rushing in the first half because Gary Patterson's defense did a phenomenal job. But he had 43 in the opening drive of the second half. It's a 3-point TCU lead here as we have just over 5 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the third quarter. 5 wide receivers for the Horned Frogs. And Walter Bryant, the recipient of the short completion at about the 35.
I tell you, this has become an Adrian Peterson versus Ty Gunn because there's only 48 yards rushing for TCU, and he has got to hit every conceivable type of pass to keep these drives going because they've been unable to get any consistent ground game, and Oklahoma isn't giving up the deep ball.
Ty Gunn, who had only started 12 games in 3 years because of injury. Blew out a knee in 2002, had a shoulder injury in 03, an ankle last year. Trying to stay healthy. A reversal to Rogers and nothing doing this time. A heavy loss. It'll bring up a 4th down. And meanwhile, what's going on with Clint Ingram? Let's get an injury report update from Trenny Kusnierek.
Well, guys, as you saw, Clint Ingram took quite a hit and then was escorted off the field. The word I have from the Oklahoma sideline is that he has a stinger and he's been taken to the locker room for further evaluation, guys.
Thank you very much, Trenny. That's good news for Clint Ingram, who was one of the senior co-captains for Oklahoma. It's a stinger and nothing more serious than that. Well, Oklahoma, 3rd and long, 3rd and 13, trying to stop him for the second consecutive time, and that pass, Corey Rogers could not hold on, and he's the record-setting wide receiver from a year ago in and out of his hands.
He's kicking himself right there. He had a chance to make the catch and get the first down, made the number 1 mistake, ran with the football before he tucked it in, before he looked it in, and of course it's an incompletion. Now you got to punt it away and give the momentum possibly back to Oklahoma.
And Bob Stoops' defense developing a little bit of confidence here in the second half, having stopped TCU twice in a row, something they could not do much in the very first half. 4th and 13, and Courtney will punt it away. And Courtney couldn't get it off. And Oklahoma, great effort by Jason Carter, the free safety, knifing in. We told you how important special teams and what a focus special teams were the last couple of weeks for Bob Stoops and company. And now they will take over deep in TCU territory at the 16-yard line.
Jason Carter, 4 years as a backup, not the starter, always backing up, but he makes a living on specialty teams. Wants to find a way to help this team on special teams. And what a huge play that was for Jason Carter. That right there very well make a big turning play as he's able to force the punter to the side and not able to get the punt off.
Ryan Courtney, if he would have tried to kick the football, he probably would have gotten it blocked.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So probably wise just to hold on to the football. Oklahoma trying to take the lead here. Hands it off to Peterson. Big opening inside, closes in a hurry, but Peterson charges ahead down to about the 10-yard line. Jeremy Modkins, the senior free safety, making the stop.
You remember first quarter, Oklahoma was inside the 5-yard. Paul Thompson fumbles the ball away. A score. Now he's back in there.
And Peterson gets up a little bit limping, holding that right ankle, and now will go down. Adrian Peterson, who had off-season shoulder surgery. He had a shoulder injury last August in camp, re-injured against A&M, had the shoulder operated on. Hasn't had much direct contact on the shoulder, but this looks like they're looking at the right ankle. Take a look again, see if we can see what happened as Peterson was trying to keep those ankles moving and push the pile.
Such a strong runner. He's got unbelievable thighs and strength. Hard to knock down.
Hard to see there. A couple of TCU defenders able to grab that leg and ankle.
Obviously, when you're working through the inside of the line and you're getting wrapped up and you can't pump and work for yardage, such an easy chance to twist an ankle or knee.
Different angle again. We'll see if we can watch Peterson's right lower leg and ankle as he gets through. Gets contact there, still trying to push off. And gets rolled up on just slightly. Peterson very, very strong. The strength and conditioning coach says that Peterson may be the strongest back they've had here in a long time. They put 11 45-pound plates on the leg machine in the weight room, and he can raise it with one leg.
That's incredible. I thought they say what 80-pound weights in each arm and does a 33-inch vertical jump to a box.
Carrying 80-pound dumbbells in each
Right.
hand. He leaps to a box 33 inches off the ground, so he is a remarkable physical specimen.
53 yards in the second half here. That's really been the difference for this Oklahoma team.
Well, tomorrow, Dr. Pepper College Football Kickoff Weekend on ABC features West Virginia, Syracuse at 1:30 Eastern Time. And then Monday night, it could be the game of the year in the ACC as number 9 Miami heads to Tallahassee to take on number 14 Florida State in one of college football's great intrastate rivalries. Bob Stoops knows what it feels like to play Florida State. That's where he had maybe one of his shining moments back in 2000 in the Orange Bowl.
I think he knows what it's like to see that young man be helped off the field. That's what he doesn't want to ever see.
Take a look at Adrian Peterson. Watch the right ankle there. Gets it on the ground. Pushing off.
Just a great effort, great effort individual.
He got up off of the ground and tried to walk back to the huddle and then couldn't put a lot of weight on that right lower ankle. Courageous young man, 1,925 yards a year ago. All-time NCAA freshman rushing record. Broke the rushing record held here by Billy Sims, the Heisman Trophy winner back in 1978. And the first and only freshman ever to be voted a runner-up in the Heisman Trophy race. We'll get you an update as soon as we can from the sidelines. 2nd and 4. Kewan Jones, the backup tailback, is in motion. Thompson will take it and give it to Jones, who will knife his way down to about the 5. That should be enough for another Oklahoma first down.
Tackled by number 4, Quincy Butler. Kewan Jones, a senior, has rushed for over 2,000 yards, only 9 starts. And last year when Adrian Peterson was named number 1, it was Kewan Jones that had to back him up, and now an opportunity for him to see if he can help get Oklahoma back into the lead.
And ironically, Coach,
Yes.
Kewan Jones missed most of August camp here with a sprained foot. He comes in now with the foot injury and ankle injury to Adrian Peterson. 1st and goal for the Sooners. Jones again will get it and get maybe a yard.
I tell you, it's obvious with a rookie quarterback like this who hasn't played a lot, not a lot of things to put the pressure on him. Trying to run the ball, get the score. I don't think they'll sit for the field goal to tie it up here, that they've got to do something, because you would love to run a naked boot right now. Fake the ball to the tailback and get your quarterback who can run rolling out the backside.
And just a reminder, time permitting, we'll have Thrifty Car Rentals post-game report. John, Craig, and Aaron featuring scores and highlights from across the country, updating on what's happening in college football and what could happen later on in the afternoon and tonight and tomorrow. 2nd and goal for the Sooners. Jones will be stuffed as they try to pull the football out. He holds on, but no gain whatsoever. That'll bring up 3rd and goal from outside the 4-yard line.
Absolutely no one paid any attention to the naked boot by the quarterback. There's going to be unblocked people if they're going to give the ball inside. And now that it's 3rd down, the defense would more likely think there would be a passing situation or a naked boot or a rollout by the quarterback.
The last 2 years, they told us they have one quarterback run that they have called because Jason White had knee surgeries on both knees. They've got a running quarterback now in Paul Thompson. Let's see what they do. Thompson rolls on the near side, has a receiver, and overthrows Travis Wilson, who was open just beyond the goal line. That means we'll probably see Garrett Hartley come strolling in to attempt a field goal to tie it up here in Norman.
Paul kind of rushed that one a little bit. He had a little bit more time as he was rolling out. He had more time. He could throw it away at any time, but give the play time to develop. It's worth a touchdown as opposed to a field goal. Got a little bit nervous and got rid of it quickly.
Hartley missed a 49-yarder earlier in the first half. He had plenty of leg, just missed it wide right. This a 21-yard attempt is up and good. And just that quickly, we are all tied up here in Norman, Oklahoma. The Sooners and the Horned Frogs at 10 apiece with 1:41 to play here in the third quarter. Let's check in down with Trenny.
Well, guys, right now they've taken off the shoe and all the tape on Adrian Peterson's right leg. They seem to be examining his foot and ankle area. Right now he's standing on it, kind of moving it back and forth, checking out the mobility of it. If I get any more information, I'll let you know as soon as I can, guys.
All right, Trenny, thank you very, very much. A lot of Sooner fans we saw moments ago just standing with their hands covering their mouths, watching the work being done on Adrian Peterson there on the bench on the Oklahoma side.
That's the most valuable ankle in Norman, Oklahoma right now.
Maybe the best college football player this side of Southern California. People here believe he's the best college football player in the country after what he did a year ago. How can you argue?
No freshman has ever got as many Heisman votes as he was runner-up last year for the Heisman Award.
Hartley kicks it deep into the end zone for TCU. As TCU will take over on their own 20, and we head back to New York with John Saunders.
Well, it looked for a while today like Bowling Green was going to pull a big upset against Wisconsin, but you see right there the Badgers already with the lead. Then Booker Stanley, the big back, goes in from 15 yards out, and they've opened up a 2-touchdown lead now, 49-35. Wisconsin with the lead, still time in the third quarter.
Thanks, John. How about the Badgers battling back there after Bowling Green went up big early on? Wisconsin showing a lot of character there in the second half.
Yeah, Omar Jacobs, the quarterback, 41 touchdowns for Bowling Green last year. He's incredible, over 4,000 yards, another great MAC quarterback.
TCU has not been able to get much in the way of offense going in the second half, and that'll not do it either. A couple of yards on the ground. We head back down to Trinity with another update on Adrian Peterson.
Well, guys, last time I talked to you, I said Adrian Peterson was standing up. What he was trying to do was put weight on that right ankle. It seems to be difficult for him. They are calling it right now a high ankle sprain. What we're hearing is that Adrian Peterson has a high ankle sprain, guys.
And Trinity, those are very, very painful. The difference between a high ankle sprain and a low ankle sprain. The low ankle sprain down in the outside of the shoe. The high ankle sprain involves the two lower bones of the leg, the tibia and fibula. You get bleeding in that soft tissue, and it is very painful. Hard to bear much weight on that ankle.
Sounds painful.
They lost one out, overthrown Quinley Harmon, and they will call the pass incomplete. Both sets of coaches wanting a flag on that play. Chijoki Onyenagicha on the coverage. Bob Stoops wanting a push-off on the play.
Yes, Onyenagicha is in beautiful position. He's got his body in position, and the receiver is trying to push through it. I think Bob Stoops is exactly right.
Now watch Stoops come in. He wants offensive pass interference.
Well, he's an old secondary coach, too, but he's right there. Onyenagicha, great body positioning, using the sideline as his friend, making the receiver run up his back.
Got a bit of a piggyback ride from Harmon. And that pass incomplete. And TCU is going to have to kick it away or punt it away again. They have not been able to get untracked offensively in the second half. Reggie Smith, the true freshman on the coverage, as Ty Gwynn trots off.
Oklahoma made a decision early that they were not going to get enough pressure with four-man rush. They're bringing linebackers and backs on the rush every time they're blitzing. It's not what you saw last year with four strong linemen, but it's what's effective this year. It's what's got them back in the game.
And remember, Brian Courtney couldn't get the punt off a moment ago. That one he does get off. It's a low end-over-end kick. Hits about the 45. Will take a TCU bounce down to about the Oklahoma 33-yard line.
Interesting enough, they did not rush. They had all punt return there, didn't rush anybody to the kicker playing for the return, but I think he was worried that he got it kicked last time he got it blocked. And now he kicks the ball very poorly, and it rolls down the field.
A 45-yard punt by Courtney. And my, what a tale of two halves. TCU dominating on offense in the first half, and they cannot get anything done in the second half. In Oklahoma, 2 scoring drives, the opening possession, and then the field goal from 21 yards out to tie it up here in the second half.
The one thing Oklahoma has been dominant at the end all day is their run defense. I mean, you're talking about 30 yards rushing. TCU has been able to rush both times, first half or second half.
Here is Rhett Bomar back in at quarterback for the Sooners. Hands it off to Jones, the tailback, and he will get up to about the 35. We just joined our coverage. A very tight quarterback battle here at Oklahoma between the redshirt junior Paul Thompson, who started today, by the way, and this man right here, Rhett Bomar, arguably the top prep quarterback in the nation in 2003 and probably the highest profile quarterback recruit in the Stoops era. Stoops said he has never done this before, but he said he announced the starter would be Thompson, but he also said Bomar would play, and indeed he has been true to his word. Another handoff inside, and maybe a yard by Jones. Final seconds tick away here in the third quarter. And off we go to the fourth quarter, all knotted up here in Norman, Oklahoma. The Horned Frogs and the Sooners, we got a good one here in Norman. ABC Sports presentation of college football will return after this message in the word from our ABC stations. Back in just a moment. We welcome you back to Dr. Pepper's College Football Kickoff Weekend right here on ABC Sports. We are in Norman, Oklahoma, 83,000 plus. Watching the 7th-ranked Sooners and the Horned Frogs of TCU all knotted up along with the coach, Terry Bowden, and Trini Kusneric. I'm Jerry Punch, glad to have you with us. First play of the fourth quarter headed your way. 3rd and 6 for Oklahoma. Redshirt freshman quarterback Bomar fires it upfield, and it's incomplete. And that'll bring up a punting situation for the Sooners.
Rhett Bomar just throwing the ball a little bit behind, had a receiver, had him tight coverage. If he could have led him a little bit, had a chance for the reception. Lindy Holmes, number 11, the intended receiver on that play out of the slot.
We just joined our coverage. It has been a tale of 2 halves. TCU dominating offensively in the first half with 225 yards of total offense. They led 10-0 at halftime. Oklahoma has come back on 2 of their 3 second-half, third-quarter possessions, I should say, to tie it up 10-10. And now TCU about to get their opening possession here in the second half, but they have not been able to get much offense here in the second half. Freeby's punt will hit at about the 27, takes a TCU bounce, and the Horned Frogs will take over deep in their own territory at their own 29-yard line when we come back. Coming up next, Dr. Pepper College Football Kickoff Weekend continues with Northern Illinois, Michigan, Boston College, BYU, or Washington Airport. Check local listings for the game in your area. And for the latest news from around the country in college football, log on to ESPN.com, search college football. All right, the Horned Frogs unable to get much in the way of offense here in the second half, get their first possession in the fourth quarter. Shotgun looking to throw upfield, heads toward Rogers and overthrows his record-setting junior receiver.
He would love to have that one back, folks. I can't say it enough. When you have a deep ball, do not overthrow it. If you underthrow that ball to the outside shoulder, just like an alley-oop pass in basketball, it's either caught or incomplete every time. Underthrow, outside shoulder. Underthrow, outside shoulder.
A gun who was 16 of 28 in the first half for 167 yards is 0 of his last 4. 0 for 4 in his last 4 passes. Has not been able to complete one. Motion handoff inside to Hobbs, and he will maybe lose a half a yard.
Bubba Moses in there initially on that. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
C.J. Ayu, by the way.
C.J. Ayu. Where was I going with that?
He's the young man that transferred from BYU via Snow Community College. Ayu, number 99 there. His dad played at BYU. 3-year letterman for the Cougars. 3rd and 10 for TCU. Still struggling on offense here in the second half. Flags come in and they will blow the play dead. I think we had some movement up front. It's going to cost TCU 5 more yards.
Prior to the snap, false start, 72, offense, 5 yards from the previous spot, still 3rd down.
That has to kill a coach because that is the 7th false start for TCU this afternoon.
No, and this is a veteran lineman. There's their seniors. Trudeau's is Michael Trudeau's is a senior. He's been around. He's hadn't had as much starting time, but he's played football a lot, and they've seen that way too much. They're gonna go back at their film, and if this thing were not to work out, they're gonna say, "Gosh, look at the little things. Look what we made mistakes. Penalties, penalties, penalties."
3rd and 15 for TCU. 3 wide receivers over the middle, and he throws it behind Rogers, who was open. If he makes the catch, he's got a shot at the first down, but he threw it about 1.5 yards behind him. 3rd consecutive 3-and-out for the
Ty Gunn drops
Horned
back,
Frogs.
but I'm going to tell you, they're right in his face in a hurry. They're coming after him quick. He feels that pressure is what happened. They don't get to him, but he feels the pressure, and he throws it too soon, and he throws it behind the receiver.
And once again, Mr. Courtney, Brian Courtney, will be standing inside his own 15. Oh, a nice kick, nice tight spiral by Courtney. Way back at the 25-yard line is Lindy Holmes. Cuts it near side, cuts it back, and can't get in the running room. Oklahoma will take over on their 31. A 41-yard punt and 7-yard return. We are all knotted up here in the 4th quarter in Norman, Oklahoma. The Dr. Pepper College Football Kickoff Weekend on ABC Sports is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, one taste, and you get it. By Jeep, trail-ready capability, only in a Jeep 4x4. And by Aflac, ask about it at work. All tied up here in Norman, Oklahoma. What a difference a halftime makes here. TCU totally in control in the first half. And Adrian Peterson back on the field, and this crowd, once they recognize he's back out, it's got to love that. Peterson has 7 carries for 58 yards and a touchdown. They taped up his ankle, and he goes down in the backfield. Great tackle by Jason Phillips and Jeremy Modkins. We check in back in New York with John Saunders.
Time now for the singular All-America Player of the Week update. Could be this young man, Brian Calhoun of Wisconsin. 5 touchdowns, tying a school record over 200 yards. Text VOTE to 87654 now on your singular phone for your ballot and a chance to win a trip to the national championship.
Who was that made the tackle?
All right, thank you very much, John. As you saw Adrian Peterson back in the ball game a moment ago and unable to get on track with a couple of yard loss, but the penalty on the play will move the ball forward. It'll be a 1st and 5. There's a look at Peterson's numbers. His worst rushing effort a year ago was against Nebraska when he had 58 yards as well. Here's Bomar getting pressure, and he will go down, drops the football, and it is picked up by TCU. And TCU will take over at the Oklahoma 16-yard line as Bomar fumbles, and David Hawthorne, the sophomore linebacker out of Corsicana, Texas, picks up the football.
Mistake by Brett Bomar. Brett Bomar, when you get those kind of pressure, wrap the ball up here. Now you see the blitz is coming full speed, putting pressure on. Wrap that ball up.
Yeah, Jamison Newby is all over the quarterback. He forces the fumble, and then Hawthorne picks it up for the Horned Frogs.
You know, the play before, Mortimer, the safety made the tackle on Jeremy Modkins, made the tackle on Peterson in the backfield. That time, 3 blitzes. This is going to be a pressure day on those young quarterbacks. Pressure to run into the quarterbacks for Oklahoma's offense.
That turnover means the first time TCU is in Oklahoma territory in the second half. Throwing it back, almost got it picked off. And I tell you, if Jan Yanagicha can grab that football, there's nothing between him and pay dirt some 80 yards away.
Ty Gunn, I'm telling you, that's one of those that you can't afford to make your senior. You've got a hitch screen out there, but it's covered. All you got to do is continue your arm motion and throw it over the receiver and the defender. You can't pull off of it. Just extend and throw over the play out of bounds.
And the real test now for that Oklahoma defense coming up, trying to stop TCU. And remember, time permitting, Thrifty Car Rental postgame report. John, Craig, and Aaron featuring scores and highlights of college football around the country. 2nd and 10 for the Horned Frogs. Gunn on the option to Hobbs. Cuts it back 10, 5, 4. Check it, that's Robert Merrill, the other 1,000-yard rusher, as he's down inside the 5-yard line.
Zach Latimer, inside linebacker, middle linebacker, made the tackle, but with only 30 yards rushing, what a great time for a 10-yard gain by the tailback, Merrill. And the thing about it is the 10 tackles for Latimer. He's having a great day, but what a time for the tailback, again, to make the big play.
Robert Merrill, who led TCU in rushing the past 2 years, as a freshman in 2003. He broke the freshman rushing record that was set by Hobbs a year earlier, 1,107 yards, as we have an Oklahoma Sooner player down on the field.
Again, you're seeing the option with all the passing, the option now putting pressure on the safeties. Good blocking of Robert Merrill. You'll see cut back for the first down. And then Zach Latimer again, his 10th tackle of the day, but what a critical point for this ineffective running game for TCU to come alive. The option again.
Yeah, that is John Williams, by the way, the injured Sooner, the 6'5", 250-pound sophomore out of Houston, who's had just a phenomenal game here this afternoon, putting all kinds of pressure on the quarterback and backs from his defensive end position.
He backs up Calvin Thibodeau, but I'm telling you, they have all played. They have rotated those linemen. John Williams has had an excellent game. Fumble recovery, 4 tackles, and it's an unbelievable day, and you just got to hope he's going to be all right.
Second injury for a Sooner. Of course, Adrian Peterson going down in the previous 2 series ago with an ankle, which they have taped up. He has been back on the field. And John Williams will get up and walk toward the sidelines. And we check in once again in New York with John Saunders.
Well, for Tennessee, UAB was supposed to be a little tune-up to start the season. Hasn't turned out that way. Darrell Hackney to Reggie Lindsey. And watch the speed. Touchdown. UAB very much in it, trailing only by 8.
Browns bunch giving the Volunteers all they can handle in Knoxville at Neyland Stadium. First and goal, big opening for Merrill, and he is just shy of the goal line. They will spot the ball at about the 1.5-yard line.
Lewis Baker comes in and showed why he used to be a linebacker, comes in attacking aggressively to make that hit, but now on the 2-yard line for TCU.
Well, TCU unable to get much in the way of offense in the third quarter, gets the big turnover, the fumble by Bomar, and they are now trying to grind it out on the ground. Ty Gunn 0 for 6 on his last passes. It's that guy right there, Robert Merrill. Second and goal from the 2-yard line. Option. Gunn gets it to Merrill. Wide open. Touchdown, Horned Frogs. A year ago, Robert Merrill in the final regular season game had a 4th and goal on the 1-yard line. If he gets in, they go to a bowl game. Tulane stopped him and drove 99 yards to upset TCU and keep him out of a bowl. Merrill said, I've been waiting a long time to make a difference, and that was a great run from 2 yards out by the tailback. The extra point is up and good, and TCU breaks back on top, 17-10. A 4-play, 17-yard drive following the Rhett Bomar fumble, and here's the 2-yard toss to Robert Merrill for the Horned Frog touchdown. A fairly quiet 84,342. That's the attendance here right now, as TCU is broken back up on top on a 4-play, 17-yard drive. Merrill a 2-yard run following the turnover on the fumble by quarterback Rhett Bomar. And the folks clad in purple and white are loving it. The Horned Frog faithful, some 2,500, it's all the tickets they could get, have made the 3-hour drive up from Fort Worth and hoping they can hold on and pull off what would be a major upset. They were a huge underdog here in the opener, TCU and Oklahoma. Peter Lococo kicks it off, and Travis Wilson will take it at his 15. Has an opening and a shoestring tackle at the 28-yard line. Now let's take a look at our Dodge defensive playbook.
Look at the pressure they get. This is pure pressure. 95, the defensive lineman, makes the great pressure coming from the offensive line. The lineman here, and the linebacker, Hawthorne, David Hawthorne, he'll come up and make the hit on the quarterback, causing the fumble. Great effort by the defensive line, great effort by the linebacker. The continued pressure of this TCU defense gives us the Dodge defensive playbook.
Great effort. Of course, that led to the 4-play scoring drive. Paul Thompson back at quarterback. Kewan Jones is the tailback, and he will get the call. Jones, nothing doing. He will lose a yard. Great push up front by Renoris Ray and Jared Kessler, the inside tackles for the Horned Frogs.
Nothing's going to change for TCU on defense. I know Oklahoma had one drive. They had that one drive opening the second half for the score. But TCU has continued to overload the box, overplay the run, and they're going to say we're going to put too many blockers up, too many defenders for you to block in hopes that you have to throw it. It's going to be that way the rest of the game and, in fact, the rest of the season with these new quarterbacks at Oklahoma.
That is the starting center, by the way. That is senior Chris Bush out of Channelview, Texas, the center for the Sooners of Oklahoma, who is down being attended to. There's a look at Chris Bush as he's able to get up and wants to walk off on his own. Looks like one of his own players may have rolled up or fallen. Let's see if we can see what happened to the center here just a moment ago.
Quite often that's what happens. You can see it right there. Big bodies playing in such close proximity to each other. That quite often is the reason there's an injury. Hopefully with all the taping and all the apparatuses they put on their knees, as you can see, hopefully nothing's wrong. He can walk it off.
Able to get off the field. You know, we talked about Bob Stoops rebuilding with that phenomenal recruiting class. He has 12 freshmen in the two deep on offense and defense. They keep talking about the 2000 season here when he had 23 freshmen and sophomores and went on to win a national title. Talk about rebuilding. Gary Patterson, what a job he has done. His defense has been ranked in the top 5 in the country 3 times in the last 5 years. In fact, twice in 2000 and 2002. They led the nation in rushing defense. Doing a heck of a job here today. Wide open is Wilson up at the 40-yard line as the defender is about 3 yards off. Drew Coleman makes the tackle, but not until Oklahoma has another first down.
Drew Coleman, you'll see, getting plenty of pressure. Here's the quarterback dropping back. Nice play action pass. One-on-one receiver right now. One-on-one coverage. Coleman giving a lot of cushion so he doesn't give up the deep ball, because that's probably what it's going to take, a deep ball or a big play, the way the day has been going.
1st and 10 for the Sooners. 3 wide receivers, and Thompson looks over the defense. And he'll hand it off to the tailback. Lots of pressure on the outside, and Peterson can't get anywhere. He will be shoved out of bounds and may have lost a yard. Chase Ortiz. There's a look at big Chase Ortiz, a sophomore from League City, Texas. What an effort on that end.
It's just great effort. Watch how he fights off the block right here. He fights off the block as they come through and then makes the tackle. That is great effort against Oklahoma, a team that would like to feel that they can line up one-on-one with anybody in the Mountain West and beat every single one-on-one block. Chase Ortiz, known as a pretty fast, speedy edge runner. Good job against the run that time.
And remember, TCU was 99th in the nation a year ago in total defense. They allowed 426 yards a game. They have held Oklahoma to 214 total yards of offense and just 10 points. None in the first half. Oklahoma will call timeout as Paul Thompson wants to talk it over. We'll be back in just a moment to Norman after this. Over 84,000 on hand here at Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. Kickoff opener here for Oklahoma and TCU. Big 12 versus Mountain West. And TCU led 10-0 at halftime. Oklahoma tied it up in the third quarter, and TCU has gone back ahead 17-10 with 10:54 to play. That pass tipped, and Paul Thompson couldn't get it out to Adrian Peterson.
I'm going to tell you, that was not a blitz now. That's just 4 down linemen rushing against 5 blockers and getting pressure on the quarterback there.
We talked about all the losses that Oklahoma has had on offense. We mentioned the Outland Trophy winner, Jamal Brown, a Remington finalist, Vince Carter up front. a Bolitnikov finalist, All-American wide receiver Mark Clayton, and 3 other seniors, and of course their Heisman Trophy quarterback Jason White. So a lot of replacements up front for Oklahoma, and they have struggled on offense here this afternoon for 3 quarters.
There's another timeout. Paul Thompson not sure what he wants to do.
So a little bit of confusion here on the Oklahoma offensive side of the football.
1 timeout left, confusion by the offense. They're not sure what they're seeing. And the momentum now has switched to TCU now.
Over 84,000 on hand here at Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. Bob Stoops' club in trouble. They have struggled offensively. In the first half, it was all Horned Frogs of TCU. Along with the coach Terry Bowden and Trini Kusnerick, I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us. TCU led 10-0 at halftime. Oklahoma came out in the third quarter and tied it up 10-10. And TCU, by virtue of a turnover a moment ago, able to go back out front 17-10. Take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Great effort by TCU in the first half. That pass for the touchdown from Gunn to Moore.
Red Bomar then does not hold on to the football, fumbles it.
And here's the toss to Merrill from a couple of yards out. The 1,000-yard rusher goes in to put the Horned Frogs back on top, 17-10 here in the fourth quarter.
In the first quarter, new quarterback Paul Thompson, redshirt junior, fumbles, keeping them from getting a touchdown inside the 5 to start the game.
That pass incomplete. David Roach there on the coverage for TCU. TCU, a rebuilt secondary. They were 117th in the nation a year ago. You can't get any worse than that. There's only 117 teams. What a job Gary Patterson, Dick Bumpus, and company have done to rebuild a TCU offense that was very porous in 2004.
And you talk about rebuilding. It was Oklahoma. Do we rebuild or reload? Well, offensively, there's a little bit of rebuilding going on.
Cody Freeby on that floating punt down to Corey Rogers. He lets it bounce. It'll take an Oklahoma bounce, and TCU will take over inside their own 15-yard line. A 48-yard punt without a return. If you're wondering about Adrian Peterson, Peterson injured an ankle early in the fourth quarter, had come out of the football game, has had a tape and come back in, but he has not been the same. Peterson held to just 55 yards rushing. His worst performance a year ago was 58 yards against Nebraska.
TCU has not been able to run the ball either. There's Peterson right there checking that ankle. He had to come out for a while to get his ankle retaped. He's back in the game. But it's the running game of TCU. They're winning this game, but have only rushed for 47 yards.
Ty Gunn on the reach, handoff, and will get the ball up over the 10-yard line. That is to Lonte Hobbs, their 1,000-yard rusher from 2 years ago.
In a possible upset like this, turnovers are so important. TCU, 1 turnover, but it occurred with 14 seconds left in the half. Did not lead to any score, but both new quarterbacks for Oklahoma have turned the ball over and fumbled, one losing a score inside the 5 going in, and the other causing the other team to get a score.
Last time Oklahoma lost a home opener, September 7th, 1996, to guess who? TCU came here and beat them 20-7. It is 17-10, and the clock is ticking with TCU on offense. Wide open receiver, can he hang on? No, incomplete pass. That would have been very near the first down sticks for tight end Chad Andrus.
Chad, again, Chad, one of those he usually makes. Did not catch it on the first catch. He let it rebound, and when you rebound it against an aggressive defense like Oklahoma, you're not going to have a second chance.
3rd and 7. TCU has struggled mightily in the second half on offense. It couldn't move it all at all in the third quarter. The turnover a moment ago is what gave them the points. They are 5 of 15 on third downs. A ball tipped at the line of scrimmage and incomplete. And the Horned Frogs will have to punt it away in their own end zone.
Ty Gunn just cannot find the answer. Nobody's that much open. He just does not have the time, and when he does, he rushes because of the pressure of the previous time. They have got him shook a little bit. He needs to stand in there and find the open receiver.
In the third quarter, TCU punter Brian Courtney could not get the punt away. The rush was too significant. They tackled him deep in his own territory. That gave Oklahoma a chance to go in and kick the tying field goal. Let's see if he can get it away here in his own end zone. Low line drive floater, hits it about midfield and will roll inside the 45. May have been touched by a TCU player up near midfield, and they will mark it, yes, up at about the 48-yard line. A 44-yard punt. In Norman, Oklahoma, at Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, over 84,000 on hand. The opener for the Big 12 reigning champion, the Sooners of Oklahoma, ranked 7th in the AP poll. And the newest edition of the Mountain West Conference, the Horned Frogs of TCU have come calling. And boy, what a difference the half makes. Take a look at the offensive production here. TCU, the majority of those points coming in the first half. They had 225 of those in the first half, and Oklahoma struggled in the first half, and they have gotten most of their yards in the second half. High formation, toss back, the tailback, and that is Peterson, and he will dive forward for about 4.5 to 5 yards. Bob Stoops, the winningest coach, winningest active coach in college football, 67 victories. In his 7th year, he has never lost in the month of September, 19-0 in his 6 previous years here at Oklahoma.
Strategy has not changed for TCU. They're going to overload the box continually. For Adrian Peterson, he has one good series, one drive, which led to a touchdown opening drive, second half. After that, he hasn't been able to do much from the running back position.
2nd and 4, Thompson back to pass, gets it picked off at the 25. And that is Drew Coleman, the very athletic cornerback, and Thompson just threw it right to him.
I'm going to tell you something, though. Travis Williams, Wilson, the receiver, broke his route and made a big problem. Paul Thompson's going to get chewed out for this. Watch number 4 coming in from the outside. You'll see Thompson come across, but Travis Wilson breaks off his route and breaks out over the top. We'll see it again. Watch outside now as he's running the vertical, takes the outside. Now comes back, instead of coming underneath, breaks back to the outside. The quarterback saw the post cut inside, threw the post cut. That's as much a veteran Travis Wilson's fault as it is the new starter Paul Thompson at quarterback.
3rd turnover of the afternoon for the Sooners of Oklahoma. 2 fumbles and now an interception. And TCU back on offense. They'll try to grind out some clock, as this time Merrill will still fighting his way forward. Strong-legged tailback gets up near the 45-yard line, gains about 8. Last 3 times Oklahoma's had the football here in the 4th quarter. Well, fumble, punt, interception. That won't get it done when you're trying to win the opener here at home.
Yeah, because TCU really doesn't have to take a lot of chances offensively. They're up by 7, but they can run the ball for short gains, and they can throw 5-yard passes, pick up a first down or second down. I don't think they feel that Oklahoma can drive the ball the length of the field.
5 wide receivers, and he gets a receiver up. It should be enough for the first down, depending upon the spot. And now they're going to spot it right at the 48.5-yard line. It'll be very close to a TCU first down.
Mike Schultz, the offensive coordinator for TCU, said we've got to do 3 things to win this game. We've got to control the clock. They had the ball 2 times to 1 for Oklahoma in the first half. We can't turn the ball over. They've only had 1 before the half, didn't lead any points. And he said we got to get it into the 4th quarter so the momentum will go to us, and that's exactly what they've done for TCU.
That is the first completion, by the way, for Ty Gunn on his last 9 passes. Gary Patterson knows how hard they have worked in the heat of the summer. He had his kids running in the middle of the day, so we're going to be conditioned to play in the 4th quarter. Merrill, a nice cutback inside the 50-yard line. He danced right and left and avoided two defenders to gain about 4 yards.
Clint Ingram back in at linebacker to make the tackle. Good to see him back in the game. He's been all over the field in the game today. Number 44, Clint Ingram.
What's happening in the TCU bench? Let's check in with Trenny.
Well, guys, TCU is definitely excited, but strong safety Brian Bonner is walking up and down the sidelines, telling the guys to stay focused, that this thing is not over yet. They may be winning the battles, but they haven't won the entire thing yet. They need to stay focused on the task at hand, guys.
Coming off a 5-6 season, TCU trying to rebound, and that pass complete for another Horned Frog first down. They had gone to 6 consecutive bowl games. until last year when they finished 5-6. They had 7 consecutive non-losing seasons. In 2003, they rose to as high as 6th in the BCS rankings prior to that late season upset in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And today, the Horned Frogs of TCU, Gary Patterson's bunch from Fort Worth, they have never trailed here an Oklahoma Sooner team that's coming off back-to-back appearances in the BCS title game.
I keep going to those early deep balls thrown by Oklahoma that did not connect. They had 2 wide open deep balls, did not connect. Could have given them some cushion. An older, more experienced Jason White would have completed those passes, but that's what you lack with a rookie quarterback, and now TCU is playing a very conservative game of run the clock, don't turn the ball over.
Take a look at the numbers there for the 5th-year senior quarterback, Ty Gunn, 22 of 43, 220 yards and a touchdown. A year ago, he threw for 368 yards when TCU beat Northwestern out of the Big Ten in double overtime in their opener.
Most importantly, no interceptions in a game like this. You want to upset somebody, turnovers are the key.
2nd and 8, TCU trying to get it done on the ground. They throw it, this time inside, bounces off the helmet and gets it picked off. Interception by Clint Ingram, who left the game earlier. And that Ingram, who left the game with a stinger earlier, picks off the pass, and Coach, you just jinxed him.
I just jinxed him. It wasn't a bad throw. It was a deflection, and it bounced so high up in the air, somebody had to get it, but you know it was going to be Clint Ingram. He's been everywhere. He's been all over the play. Watch him right now. Fairly safe throw, just throwing the slant. Hit him right in the helmet. Here comes Clint right there, always around the ball.
A 23-yard return by Ingram. You can't do more than he hit Harmon right in the ear hole.
Right in the helmet. That's why it bounced so high. Get your hands up.
That thud you heard, Harmon, was the football coming at you.
And it's so sad because you talk about a team and an effort and play calling and everything. You're doing everything right. Receiver doesn't turn around and the ball hits the helmet right up into the air.
Oklahoma will take over in TCU territory. Pitch back to the tailback. Peterson cuts it back inside the 45.
Folks, those are hard yards, and every yard he's got today has been a hard yard. They put so many people in there. It's a 4-2-5 defense. You're saying 5 defensive backs. How do you stop it? Well, in a 4-2-5, 2 of the safeties walk up and become linebackers. It's a 4-4, 8-man front, and sometimes the other safety walks up for 9. So it's a pure overload. They don't beat the offense with superior athletes. They beat with superior numbers. Unblocked defenders has been the key.
The numbers for Adrian Peterson, and he will get it again. And this time, great effort by Jones coming in from outside to make the tackle.
Washington yards on the play, then to the 45-yard line. Brings up 3rd and 8.
Gary Patterson trying to get a stop from his fired-up Horned Frog defense. 3rd and 8. Inside of 5 minutes to play in Norman, Oklahoma. TCU trying to hold on to what would be a major upset in college football. Pass almost picked off again. Quincy Butler, the defender there for TCU.
We're seeing a pattern here of what's going to happen to Oklahoma, not just today, but the rest of the season. They're going to find ways to take away the running backs and give the quarterback the responsibility of hitting one-on-one receivers, and they don't quite hit them well enough.
Well, 4th and 8, and Oklahoma's going to go for it.
Got to do it now. Got to do it. There's defense can come back on and get you the ball back, but the opportunities are running out right now with 4:20 left in the game.
Paul Thompson, one of his last 7, he's thrown the football. Motion, 3 wide receivers. Here's Thompson. Has a receiver, and he doesn't hold on. Right in the hands of Lindy Holmes, the freshman from Dallas, Texas. He would have the first down. And they will turn the ball over with 4 minutes and 13 seconds to play to TCU with pretty darn good field position.
Folks, what's the difference here? You got a rookie quarterback throwing to a rookie receiver. You lose Jason White at quarterback, you got a rookie receiver or a 5th-year junior who hasn't played before throwing to a redshirt freshman who didn't play. You lose 4 top receivers, you lose Jason White. The same plays don't quite get executed the same. And Folks, that's rebuilding. That's not reloading. That's the reality.
TCU trying to run on the field. Got to snap the ball. Play clock is 2 seconds away, and they're going to use a timeout, or else they would lose 5 yards.
Well, they've used the clock perfectly so far. 32 minutes for TCU, only 23 minutes of possession for Oklahoma. They've had the ball on offense almost 10 minutes longer than Oklahoma.
We told you that TCU was horrible in pass defense a year ago. 117th in the country, giving up 304 yards and 29 touchdowns through the air. Even though they were pretty good on offense, they couldn't stop people. That's why they only won 5 football games.
And, you know, they had injuries. They had 2 new cornerbacks. That guy right there you go, Coach Patterson, Gary Patterson. His forte has been defense. They've been top 5 in the nation 3 times since he's been there. They've been number 1 in scoring defense twice since he's been there. 2 years ago, they were number 1 in scoring defense. I think he was shocked more than anybody when the injuries came up. 2 first-time starters at corner from junior college. They couldn't execute. And here's a guy who prides himself in defense. I think today has been so far such a rewarding experience for Gary Patterson and the great job he and those guys have done.
Gary Patterson was a strong safety at Kansas State. He played linebacker and strong safety. He learned the passion for defense under his current defensive coordinator, Dick Bumpus, when he was at Utah State and later on at Navy. Then he worked under Dennis Francione when he came from New Mexico to TCU. He spent 3 years as a coordinator for the Horned Frogs of TCU, and well-deservedly was given the head coaching job when Francione moved on to Alabama. Horned Frogs trying to run out the clock here, and Hobbs, that won't get it done. He is nailed at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
You'd like to try to get another first down here again. This is Oklahoma. This is Norman. You got 4 minutes left in the game. I know you're not going to do anything risky. You threw a safe slant last series for an interception, so it got you a little shell-shocked in play calling.
Oklahoma has 1 timeout remaining. They need to get the football back and not allow TCU to churn out some clock.
I keep thinking about that block punt earlier, and they've played return punt ever since.
Again, you know they're going to run the football, and Merrill gets hit in the backfield. Robert Merrill hit by Zach Latimer about 1 yard deep and spins off the tackle to get back to the line of scrimmage.
When they blocked that punt earlier, they got there so early, the punter didn't even try to punt it. He just stepped to the side because it was over. But I've noticed that they've had the return punt on ever since. They haven't tried to block it yet. I'm seeing as I go forward now, you've got to think if we get down to 4th down, there's going to be a heavy block attempt because I can't see this Oklahoma offense sustaining a steady drive down the field.
TCU just 5 of 16 on 3rd downs today. They were less than 39% a year ago on 3rd down. There's the completion. It won't be enough, though. Up to midfield for Corey Rogers. It'll still be about 4 yards shy of the first down.
All right, that coach has got to pull his team up, his punt team up on the sideline. Take all the time in the world.
And just a reminder, in the 3rd quarter, TCU could not get the punt off. Brian Courtney had too much pressure and was tackled back in the shadow of his own goal line.
Here you've got your coach. Now this may be the most important punt of your career when you're talking about maybe beating Oklahoma in Norman after a 5-6 season and a team that just less than a year ago playing for the national championship. You've got to take all the time. They've taken a timeout. They want to make sure all their blocking rules, all their personnel are straightened out perfectly because a perfect punt back down inside the 20 is just what you want with 2 minutes and 12 seconds left.
Gary Patterson, we mentioned his 5th year at the helm of TCU. They have had 3 of the school's 7 all-time 10-plus win seasons, 3 conference titles. He was a 2002 Conference USA Coach of the Year. As you look at Brian Courtney, the punter. And Coach, you were in this situation a number of times over the years coaching. What do you talk to your punter or you just leave him alone?
No, you don't say too much. Just remind them of get the ball off, take the proper steps. You remind your players, stay in a little longer, stay in protection a little bit longer. and then make sure you get downfield for coverage. Just making sure everybody calmly does their assignment. As a head coach, you're out there really, you're on your knees shaking like crazy because this is about to be the biggest game of your career, and you're sitting down there saying, okay, nothing's going to go wrong, nothing's going to go wrong, and you're sitting there looking at the clock, knowing that football is football, something can go wrong.
Ryan Courtney, who missed much of fall camp with a groin injury, transferred from UNLV via Mesa Community College. Low snap, and he gets the low line drive, end over end floater that'll hit at the 10-yard line, and they can't keep it out of the end zone. And Oklahoma will take over on their own 20. A 51-yard punt if you count the roll, and Oklahoma will take over with just over 2 minutes to play in this one, trailing by 7. Well, the folks here in Norman, Oklahoma are holding their breath. 84,000, of which 2,500 purple and white clad fans have made their way up from Fort Worth, but the vast majority are dressed in crimson and cream. As the Horned Frogs of TCU taking on the 7th-ranked Sooners of Oklahoma, who have played in back-to-back BCS title games with the reigning Big 12 champion. And they've got to get something done here in the final 2 minutes, and they're going to go down to defeat here in the home opener for the first time since 1996.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 85 on the offense, 5 yards from the previous spot, still first down.
Looking at Bob Stoops, he is 36-1 here at Memorial Stadium. His only loss coming to arch rival Oklahoma State back in 2001. He has never lost a game as the Sooners head coach in the month of September. They have managed to find a way to pull him out. They dump it off this time to Jones, and he will scamper out of bounds up near the 20-yard line.
Eric Buchanan covering on that play. Again, the object here as a defense, the object in here. You know how people say they hate to see prevent defense, folks? I'm playing prevent defense right now. It's a 3-5-3. It's a 4-4-3. It's get as much pressure as you can, but make them catch the ball underneath your umbrella of coverage. Catch it underneath the umbrella of coverage.
Shotgun formation for Thompson. Lone setback is Jones. 3 receivers in the pattern, and he goes for the tight end. That's big Joe John Finley, who was the best receiver among the tight ends.
Only 2 veteran wideouts for this Oklahoma team. Everybody else has very little playing experience. Talent, but little playing experience.
3rd and 5, and the clock is ticking away. He gets the pass completed. It'll be very, very close to the first down.
There's going to be a flag for coming off late on the field. They did not participate, but the lineman got off the field late.
Drew George will talk it over. He's the Big 12 referee with the linesman and the side judge. From the ball placement, looks like they were going to be just shy of the first down.
Substitution infraction on the defense. Never got off the field. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. The yardage results in a first down.
Yeah, he almost got off. You could see him running out there. He could not participate, but the rule says if you can't get off, even if you're trying to, we've got to throw the flag.
5-yard penalty will give Oklahoma a first down here with 1:26 to play, still deep in their own territory. Thompson and overthrows the receiver. Again, the big tight end, 6'6" Joe John Finley.
TCU able to get just enough pressure with four rushers. Now they're trying to get some defensive linemen in there. We talked with Gary Patterson about substituting linemen, getting a lot of people playing. Here we are, the 4th quarter, the 1:20 left in the game, getting fresh people in. Is how vital that is that he substituted early, is able to have some fresh rushers in the game so he can play zone and play protection. You see his 2 safeties playing deep, which is what you've got to do.
Here's Thompson back to pass, looks upfield, has a receiver downfield, and great defensive effort as they're intended to get the pass to Travis Wilson. Drew Coleman, who had the pick in the 4th quarter, had the interception early in the 4th quarter. Drew is the senior out of Henderson, Texas.
And folks, I'm not believing that. I'm not believing that the safeties came up, played man coverage, they blitzed. If that's a perfectly thrown pass, folks, this is a touchdown. This is a touchdown and game winner. All you people that hate to see prevent defense, that want to see people blitz in the end of a game just to get after him, they blitzed. The guy was wide open. Thank goodness they missed it, if you're a TCU fan.
That's the fourth underthrown pass where you had a receiver that could have gotten it downfield today for Oklahoma. This one will go to Wilson, and he will be shoved out of bounds, which will stop the clock after the gain of about 2 yards.
Yeah, you people think, well, Jason White, I mean, how valuable was he? He wasn't he retired in the NFL, maybe not a great NFL pick, but what a great college quarterback Jason White was. He didn't miss passes like that. These young men may one day be that way, but they're not quite yet there. You could see it today. These guys have a ways to go.
And the turnovers have really hurt
Yes.
Oklahoma. 3 turnovers today, 2 fumbles. The one by Bomar, unfortunately, who's had a great beginning here as a redshirt freshman quarterback, hurt him. The interception hurt him.
And then, of course, Paul Thompson.
And another fumble. And Oklahoma looks like they may have fallen back on the football.
Fourth down. It's TCU ball either way with one timeout left.
And that should pretty much do it here as the TCU band begins to play. Look again here at Thompson trying to hold on to the football.
Just a case of a one-on-one defensive lineman beating a one-on-one. Secrets, no tricks. Beating a man one-on-one to make the sack. Gary Patterson, one of the great wins in TCU history, about to come down right now with 1:03 left.
Gary Patterson's teams won 10 games in 2002, including a big win in the Liberty Bowl. In 2003, they were 11-2, and he was a finalist for the Bobby Dodd National Coach of the Year Award, which, by the way, was won by the guy across the field, from him, Bob Stoops.
Yeah, and Oklahoma, Bob Stoops, I'm not sure in a regular season he's ever been in this situation before. All the fears other fans had that he would admit maybe their rebuild. Where's the swagger? We've got a ways to go.
And today's Chevrolet players of the game, well, take a look. Ty Gunn, what a job, the fifth-year senior quarterback. Those are his numbers. Zach Latimer for Oklahoma, his first start at middle linebacker, 15 tackles today. Latimer playing from sideline to sideline. And in recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. "45-year-old Gary Patterson, his 5th year at the helm of the Horned Frogs of TCU, coming off a disappointing 5-6 season, a defensive coordinator, and an accomplished head coach. And this has to go down in the column of all-time great victories.
At TCU, to get these players mentally ready for this game, losing to Tulane just last season to end their season on the last minutes of the series. They don't get in on a 1-yard drive and gave up a 99-yard drive to lose and go 5-6 and come back.
A year ago, a Mountain West Conference team opened up against a Big 12 team. It was Utah against Texas A&M, and Utah won 41-21. Today, in 2005, the newest member